Chapter 231. Sorry, I will not choose either. He was not interested in the low-rank defensive weapon that was covered in sticky meat. Yi Chen let it fall on the ground, making a crisp sound. He slowly turned his body around, facing the opponent. I promise you, you will die a horrible death. The old lady was called Wang Fang, one of the top 2 warriors of the Wang family. Her power was only below the leader of the family, who was also her brother. For all these years, besides the big things, the leader of the family was in charge of everything else, which created her arrogant personality. People on the Snake Island were even more afraid of her than the leader of the Wang family. Right then, hearing her face twisted instantly, and the 3-headed snake shadow behind her started to hiss loudly. Shoo! Her body disappeared, and Wang Fang appeared in front of Yi Chen with an extremely shocking speed, throwing out a palm attack. So fast! Even faster than Wu Liangyu. His nerves had not gotten used to this kind of speed yet, so Yi Chen threw out his 5 mountain godly fist art instinctively. All of a sudden, a brutal black palm power shot out of Wang Fang's palm, spreading out in a small fan shape, cutting off layers of the ground. Being in the center of the explosion, Yi Chen had to back out for dozens of steps before he could completely cancel out the power. Die! After blowing away Yi Chen with 1 palm attack, Wang Fang had the thought that Yi Chen was only SOZO. Her aura burned like fire as she threw out a palm attack that was even more powerful than before, shaking the entire air. Chin! There was a dazzling sword light shining, and the sharp sword was spread out at an extremely fast speed, cutting through the void. In this silent void, the clearly visible half-moon sword Qi shattered the piece, as if it had shattered a mirror, and flew out with an unstoppable momentum. Pooh! The palm power had been torn apart, and the sword Qi had been shattered as well. Sword artist! Wang Fang frowned. In her mind, only people with sword intent could be called sword artists. Obviously, Yi Chen was one of them. It's a pity that another swordsman is going to die today. Wang Fang sneered. In front of absolute power, the so-called sword intent was just a joke. Yi Chen's potential had strengthened her determination to kill him. Without the slightest hesitation, Wang Fang operated her Jin Qi. Both of her hands turned into countless phantoms and clapped in the air. One after another, black palm power spread out in a fan shape, almost covering half of the street. To be exact, it covered the area hundreds of meters in front of her, because in the process, the street was rapidly collapsing. Sky shattering clouds. Facing that wave of palm power, Yi Chen lifted up his Star-Scar sword and threw out a sword attack. Boom! The palm force split apart. When the sword struck out, it was as though there was a tall mountain erected in front of it, an eternal reef, unmoving. Break! Following the tide-like palm power, Wang Fang flew over and slammed her palm on the intangible sword Qi. The mountain was broken, and the reef was crushed. This old lady is indeed powerful. She is definitely not a normal, peak-level late, clasping Yuan Realm warrior. The sword momentum collapsed, and Yi Chen struck out with his sword again. Wang Fang was like a hot knife cutting through butter. She threw out 1 palm attack after another. The 3-headed snake shadow behind her seemed to have added endless power and power to her. Separate, leaving a Zhen Qi shadow where he was standing. Yi Chen turned his feet and cut to the right side of Wang Fang. He threw out a sword attack, the sword light blurring. Ting! The lone peak kill, which had always been successful, had been blocked out. It was the 3-headed snake shadow behind Wang Fang's back. One of the snake heads reached down and blocked out that sword attack of Yi Chen's. The Star-Scar sword stabbed in 3 inches, and Yi Chen immediately backed out. The next second, the ground started to shake intensely. The 3-headed snake shadow's tail fell from the sky, rocks flying everywhere. Wang Fang turned her body and said with a hideous look, "Has no one told you that among warriors at the same level, my brother and I are unbeatable?" Not necessarily. The 12th movement combination. His body looked like he was backing out, but he was actually moving forward. Yi Chen dodged the attack of the three-headed snake shadow. The star-scar sword shone with a dark starlight as it stabbed towards his opponent's body, ignoring the distance between them. One had to admit that the three-headed snake shadow was way too powerful. Before Wang Feng could react, it had reacted first. One of its heads bumped onto the star-scar sword. Swoosh! The star-scar sword that had lost its aim did not manage to pierce into Wang Feng's vital organs. It landed on her shoulder, and the sword qi went through, leaving a deep sword hole on the ground behind her. What? Wang Feng looked at her wounded shoulder in disbelief. I wonder if you can dodge the next sword attack. His body flipped in the air. Yi Chen landed on a broken wall, looking down from above. Don't get carried away. You will not be able to break through my defense again. Wang Feng bit on her teeth. With both of her hands up and down, she pushed out a beam of black light wave towards Yi Chen. The attacking range of the light wave was huge, and it was accompanied by a hint of soul pressure. The sword intent had cut through the pressure on the soul. Yi Chen's toes touched the broken wall and shot into the sky. 6 Zhenqi shadows appeared in the air, attacking Wang Feng from different angles. This is the real body. The three-headed snake shadow had its reaction range. Within this range, without Wang Feng's control, it could automatically defend and attack. Seeing through the real body, its long tail swung over. It is useless even if you see through it. Lone peak kill. Yi Chen was already hiding in the Zhenqi shadows. When the tail swung over, his real body jumped out, brushing past the three-headed snake shadow's tail and stabbing into Wang Feng's shoulder. It was not that he did not want to hit her vital organs, but the three-headed snake shadow's reaction was way too fast, and there were enough snake heads. 2 snake heads attacked together, which made Yi Chen deviate a little bit. His killing sword attack had turned into a full power attack. Blood splashed out, and Wang Feng almost fainted from anger. She threw out both of her palms crazily, and the black palm power spread out like crazy. Shoo! 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 Changing his back route a couple of times, Yi Chen managed to back out to a safe distance. His eyebrows slightly frowned. That three-headed snake shadow did not disappear, so it would be very hard for him to kill her. It might even be impossible. Plus, the reason why he was able to get the upper hand was because he had learned the lone peak kill again. He had combined the 12th movement into it, which increased his power and speed drastically. Otherwise, it would still be unknown if he could break through her defense. No wonder he dares to call himself invincible within the same realm. It is not just a rumor. Right now, I have almost figured out one thing. Behind her back was a 3-headed snake shadow, while Wang's snake had a 5-headed snake tattoo on his body. If he were to inherit the power, then he would have activated the 5-headed snake tattoo and created a horrifying 5-headed snake shadow. If the 3-headed snake shadow was already this powerful, then the 5-headed snake shadow would be even more powerful. This should be the reason why the top management of the Wang family had sent a disciple from a branch family to inherit the power. They had their eyes on Wang Snake's potential. Yi Chen had a clear mind. Although he did not know what kind of power Wang Snake was going to inherit, he had already figured out the form of the power. Once Wang Snake succeeded in inheriting the power and activated the 5-headed snake shadow, he might actually become an invincible warrior within the same realm. All of a sudden, the mysteriousness of the Wang family had caught Yi Chen's interest. It was not something that a rank 9 family should have. Black snake shadow chasing wave. Yi Chen frequently dodged the attacks, which had aroused Wang Feng's anger. She took a deep breath, and a black light appeared on her body. At the same time, one of the 3-headed snake shadow disappeared, as if the power of the snake head had all merged into her body. Along with the increase of her Zhenqi, Wang Feng used up all of her fist power and threw out a palm attack towards Yi Chen. Crack! The ground was cracking, and the qi power was like a snake. Yi Chen realized that his speed was almost being overtaken by the snake-shaped chi power. He hurried to perform the ultimate skill of the separating shadow flying art, shadow explosion. All of a sudden, hundreds of human shadows exploded like a blooming daffodil, extremely fast. Puff, 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 puff. The snake-shaped chi power quickly traveled among the human shadows, destroying them one after another. After about half of the human shadows had been destroyed, it finally scattered and exploded, destroying another 10 human shadows. After narrowly avoiding the explosion, Yi Chen did not stop and shot towards Wang Fang. On the way, Yi Chen sensed the danger and decided to back out. Within a couple of blinks of an eye, a qi that was similar to Wang Fang but much more powerful than her covered the entire sky. The onlookers cried out in surprise. It is the leader of the Wang family, Wang Heng. He finally showed up. The third lady of the Wang family is in danger, and the leader of the Wang family did not show up. It would be unreasonable, but that brat is so powerful. He had wounded the third lady of the Wang family twice in a row. This has never happened before. Look, that brat backed out. Did he know that the leader of the Wang family would show up? In a one-on-one battle, Yi Chen would not back out. Even if he could not win, he could still run. After all, there were no astral-reaching realm warriors in the Wang family, and they would not be able to stop him. However, Wang Fang was already powerful enough, and with an even more powerful warrior, it would be unwise for him to stay. His body flashed, and Yi Chen disappeared from everyone's sight. A huge wind blew, and a human figure landed in front of Wang Fang. It was an elder in his 70s. What was surprising was that there was also a shadow behind the old man, but this shadow was not a 3-headed snake but a 4-headed snake. Its body was even bigger than the 3-headed snake behind Wang Fang, and its aura was even more intense. The moment he landed, the surrounding air became still, and there were no ripples. Fang, what is wrong with you? How did you turn this place into this? The elder was not happy. Wang Fang said angrily, that brat had killed our 4th brother. I will skin him alive. Our 4th brother has been killed? What is going on? The elder had never liked this 4th brother of his. Not only did he protect Wang Ping, but he also dared to go against him. Did he not know that he was doing this for the Wang family? Only with a high enough density of the bloodline would they be able to produce more powerful warriors. The so-called main family and branch family would be too stupid. More importantly, once the density of the bloodline reached the 5-headed snake level, it would be possible to evolve into a 6-headed snake bloodline. One 6-headed snake bloodline would be more valuable than 10 4-headed ones. It was also the reason why he had given up on his eldest grandson and picked a member of the branch family. If the Wang family wanted to rise again and recover its former glory, they could not be too shallow. Of course, his 4th brother was still his 4th brother. Now that he had been killed, the elder would not be able to just sit back and do nothing. The night was getting darker, and the moonlight was getting dimmer. On an uninhabited island in the Star Regional Lake, Yi Chen had found a suitable place for training. Taking out the sword-shaped plant and the Battle Emperor's sword from his storage ring, Yi Chen thought to himself, my sword intent has reached 50% for a long time, and it has already stabilized. It is time to use you guys. Chapter 232. The 4th layer of the Snake Island. In the hall of the villa. Brother, you are the only one on the Snake Island who can kill that brat. You have to help 4th brother. Wang Fang said hurriedly. Wang Heng felt helpless and angry at the same time. I have already heard about what happened to our 4th brother. I have to say, he was looking for death himself. He tried to assassinate someone else for no reason. Facing this kind of thing, any clasping Yuan realm warrior would be furious. But since he had killed our 4th brother, I can't just sit back and do nothing. Otherwise, how would people from the Snake Island think of our Wang family? Under Wang Heng's strict interrogation, Wang Ping told everything that had happened. Of course, he hid the relationship between Yi Chen and Wang Shi. He said that it was purely because Yi Chan was suspicious. So the fourth master went to investigate. Although Wang Heng was old, his intelligence hadn't deteriorated. He could tell the truth with just one glance. After locking Wang Ping up, he sent people to investigate the cause and effect. They found out that she was sent to the Snake Island by Yi Qin. Because of this, Wang Ping and his fourth brother planned to kill him secretly. However, they didn't expect that Yi Chen's power was beyond their expectation. Instead, his fourth brother died. Wang Feng felt it was unfair and said, "Big brother, what are you going to do?" Wang Heng said, "This matter is fourth brother's fault. Just break one of his arms." "What? Only one of his arms? Didn't fourth brother die for nothing?" Wang Feng screamed, as if she couldn't believe Wang Heng's decision. Wang Heng yelled, "If it wasn't for you blindly protecting them, fourth brother wouldn't have died. Speaking of which, you have to bear the greatest responsibility. Your punishment is to be confined for a year, and you are not allowed to manage the family's affairs." Wang Feng was stunned. Wang Heng rarely got angry at her, and even if he did, it would not be so obvious. Right now, under the pressure of the opponent's aura, she could not even control the power of her bloodline. That was a pressure that came from the soul, ignoring the difference in power between both sides. She swallowed the words that she was about to say. Wang Heng did not look at her anymore. He ordered people to track Yi Qin. As long as he was still around the Snake Island, he would definitely be found. If he could not be found, it meant that he had left, and there was nothing he could do. After thinking for a while, Wang Heng said, "Track down this person. Do not act rashly. Inform me immediately." Yes, the elders in charge of this matter received the order and left. The uninhabited island was no more than 10 miles in circumference, and there was not even a blade of grass growing on it. What was surprising was that in the southeastern region of the island, there was a small valley. Above the valley, there was a waterfall that flowed down, pouring into the pool below with loud rumbling sounds. Yi Chen stood motionless on the flat ground in the valley, looking at the opposite rock wall. This stone wall was different from ordinary stone walls because there was a sword mark on it. The sword mark was 9 feet long, narrow and sharp, filled with powerful sword intent. This sword intent seemed to be able to pierce through one's heart and slay one's soul, wanting to break out of the wall. The sword intent had been there for a long time. It had not dissipated since the night before yesterday. Moreover, because of the sword intent, the area where the sword mark was made was particularly hard. Normally, Yi Chan could poke a hole in it with a light finger, but now he could only leave a shallow mark. And this sword mark was indeed made by the Battle Emperor's sword. When the sword-shaped plant got close to the Battle Emperor's sword, the sword intent inside the plant immediately merged into the sword. Holding the sword in his hand, Yi Chen's sword intent exploded. He threw out a sword attack onto the rock wall, leaving a sword intent that had been there for a long time. As the sun passed the middle of the sky, Yi Chen suddenly woke up. What a powerful sword intent! It made me sink into it, unable to pull myself out. I had completely forgotten about the time. Yi Chen mumbled to himself. As Yi Chen mumbled to himself, the sword intent on the sword mark disappeared in the wind. A bit of sword intent can only last for 2 days. It is completely incomparable to the 500 years old sword intent in the natural moat gorge. But in comparison, a bit of sword intent would be better. The sword intent in the gorge is way too aggressive. It could even kill an astral-reaching realm warrior's life force. Even if I go there, it would not be a good result. If the sword intent is completed, I could go there and find the last piece of the Battle Emperor's sword. Although he could not pull himself out, once there was danger, Yi Chen would still be able to force himself to wake up. Just then he had sensed that the sword intent was about to disappear, so he woke up automatically. As for the time, it had indeed passed very fast for him, since it was the Battle Emperor's sword intent. He was more or less addicted to it. Sensing the level of his sword intent, Yi Chen smiled. He had already reached 60% sword intent. One sword-shaped plant had helped him learn 10% of the sword intent, which seemed to be more than enough. He was not that far away from 70% sword intent. He wondered if the second sword-shaped plant could help him reach 70%, or even 80%, or even close. With 80% sword intent, his attacking power would increase drastically, reaching a level that even he himself would not be able to control. It would get harder and harder to learn the sword intent, and the further one progressed, the more the attacking power would be. Back in the auction house in the gold tripod city, that astral-reaching realm warrior had unintentionally released his sword intent. It should not have reached completion yet, but that chilling sharp intent could cover the whole place, and it could kill a clasping Yuan realm warrior's life force and soul at any moment. Taking out the second sword-shaped plant, Yi Chen did not need to control it himself. A bit of sword intent shot out of it automatically, merging with the broken battle emperor's sword. Cut! The sword intent shot out again as Yi Chen threw out a sword attack onto the rock wall. Swoosh! A new sword mark appeared, and the horrifying sword intent spread out, lingering for a long time. Putting away the battle emperor's sword, Yi Chen looked at the sword mark. His sword intent poured out, clashing with the sword intent on the sword mark, trying to understand the mysteries within. The sun was setting, and the sun was rising. Time was flying fast. Hundreds of miles away from the uninhabited island, two silhouettes flew over. Our family warriors had sensed the intense sword intent outside of this island. It should be here. Wang Heng said to Wang Fang, who was standing right next to him. Wang Fang said with a cruel voice, "Let's see where he can run this time." Wang Heng warned, "You just stand aside and watch. Do not do anything on your own. Let me make all the decisions." He was not planning to let Wang Fang come, but because of her begging, he reluctantly agreed. The condition was that she could only be a bystander and not make any decisions. I know. Wang Fang really wanted to see Chen's miserable face after losing one of his arms. For most people, losing an arm was a very painful thing. It was not just the physical pain, but the pain of losing confidence in the future. Having a broken body would have a huge impact on one's future growth. Wang Heng sighed. Losing an arm was too much after all. Let's see how it goes. If Yi Chen was not what he had imagined, then just teaching him a lesson would be enough. He might not necessarily lose an arm. Otherwise, it would be better to just kill him. He could imagine what kind of revenge he would get if he lost an arm. The two of them moved extremely fast. Soon, they arrived at the uninhabited island. Woo! All of a sudden, a horrifying sword intent shot out into the sky, spreading out in all directions. The air seemed to be vibrating as if it was crying. 70% sword intent. Inside the valley, Yi Chen's happy voice could be heard. Chapter 233. As his sword intent reached 70%, Yi Chen could vaguely sense that the sword intent, which was originally intangible, was starting to materialize, turning from intangible to tangible. Of course, with his powerful soul power, he could only sense it a little bit, and could not observe the sword intent at all. Unfortunately, the effect of the Battle King's sword intent in the sword-shaped plant had been weakening. If the first one had brought his sword intent from 50% to 60%, then the second one had only helped him reach 70%. Right then, even with the third one, it would not be possible for him to make another breakthrough. At most, he would only be able to go a little further on the 70% sword intent. However, the 70% sword intent was more than enough. Yi Chen had still underestimated the power of the sword intent. The effect of the 70% sword intent was not only increasing the attacking power of his sword art, it had also made Yi Chen's mind more clear. Some of the things that he had been thinking about before had suddenly become clear the moment his sword intent reached 70%. For example, his lone peak kill, which had naturally been infused with the 13th movement, had reached completion. The sky-shattering clouds had also perfectly infused with the third movement, increasing its power to the next level. All in all, the 70% sword intent had directly increased the attacking power by 30% and indirectly increased the attacking power by 20%. Altogether, it was 50%, which was a horrifying increase. Cut! Taking out his Star-Scar sword, Yi Chen's sword intent exploded, turning into a sky-covering blue light as he threw out a sword attack. Crack! The valley had been split in two. The gap was perfectly straight and smooth, showing its sharpness. What was different from before was that Yi Chen could clearly feel the sword intent stopping at the gap for a couple of breaths. Normally, his sword intent would not be able to stop for even a second. All right. Studying the Battle King's sword intent had allowed me to learn a little bit of immortality. Although it was only a little bit, it was something that other sword artists could not compete with. Just by studying the sword-shaped plant, it was basically impossible to learn the immortality. But Yi Chen had the broken Battle King's sword, which had been around for 500 years, and still had a little bit of the Battle King's sword intent. Yeah, someone is here. Through the gap, Yi Chen saw two human figures 10 miles away. Hurry! This person's sword intent is indeed horrifying. It would be hard to find a worthy opponent under the astral-reaching realm. Wang Heng was shocked. He was the leader of the Wang family, and he had the four-headed snake's bloodline power. But he had never claimed to be invincible among his peers. He knew very well that there were some extremely low-key, clasping Yuan realm warriors in the South Rudra region who could beat or even kill him, not to mention the whole true spirit continent or the vast ocean around it. The world was far too big. The so-called invincibility of the same rank could only be produced within a certain range. If anyone dared to claim that they were invincible among the same rank martial artists in the world, then they had lost their minds. Wang Fong opened her mouth wide and didn't know what to say. She didn't wake up until Wang Heng shouted. She turned around in a panic and followed Wang Heng. Whoosh! The two of them were both peak-level late, clasping Yuan realm martial artists, and they also had the bloodline power. Therefore, their speed was unbelievably fast. Within a blink of an eye, they had already traveled nearly 1 mile. You sure run fast. Yi Chen sneered, but he did not plan to chase after them. Right now, it would only take him one sword attack to kill Wang Fong. Killing Wang Heng would probably take more effort, but it would not be too hard. However, if he killed the two of them, the Wang family would collapse for sure, which would not be a good thing for Wang Snake, who was about to inherit the bloodline power of the Wang family. For threats, Yi Chen would not show any mercy. For example, Yuan Zongbua, he was not that powerful, but the Sky Eagle castle behind him was very powerful. If he did not kill him, there would be trouble in the future. The Wang family was only a rank 9 family, and there was not even one astral-reaching realm warrior in the family. So, the threat to Yi Chen was very small. Of course, all of this was under the premise that the Wang family knew what was good for them. Otherwise, they would have to start a massacre. It has been 4 days. I wonder if Shou has any news about the blood sunflower. Increasing his sword intent did not mean that he could let go of his attacking power. With the power to perform his minor blood demon body separating great art, Yi Chen's attacking power could still increase to a horrifying level if he were to risk his life. Performing his separating shadow flying art, Yi Chen flashed and flew out towards the Snake Island. In the Wang family's lobby, what? He has caught up to the Snake Island? Wang Heng's expression changed drastically as he forced a smile. Wang Fong did not have that arrogant attitude from before. She bit on her teeth and said, "If he comes to the Wang family for revenge, I will fight with him. I am the one who caused all of this." Wang Heng sat down dejectedly. "What do you have to fight with him? I have told you all the time. There is always someone more powerful than you. Do not think that with the power of the bloodline, you can look down on all the warriors at the same level. Now you know the consequences. Before, I had asked people to find disciples with the highest purity of the bloodline to inherit the power. It was all for the Wang family to become more powerful and regain the glory of the past. But you just had to go against me, thinking that the disciples from the branch family do not have the right to do so. You have to know one thing. In this true spirit continent, only the powerful are respected. The so-called orthodox families are only a group of ants in the eyes of the powerful ones. They can be destroyed with a flick of their fingers. Wang Feng did not say anything. Right then, a manager walked in. Leader, he did not come up. Instead, he stayed in the restaurant. Stayed in the restaurant? Wang Hung froze for a second. Then a happy expression appeared on his face. He thought that there might be a chance. He hurried to yell, "Inform everyone in the Wang family no one is allowed to disturb him. Whoever dares to do so, kill them." "Yes, sir." On the second floor of the restaurant, the waiter and the shopkeeper were trembling, not daring to move a muscle, especially the waiter who had brought the food and wine to Yi Chen. He had a look of fear on his face. Both of his knees softened as he kneeled on the ground, stuttering, "Young warrior, please don't kill me." "I had no choice." Yi Chen waved his hand, and the waiter could not help but stand up. He said, "It is none of your business. Go and prepare some food for me." All right. The waiter and the manager were relieved. They hurried downstairs to prepare the food. Taking a sip of the tea, Yi Chen thought to himself, "I was not here for the past few days, and Uncle Zhou could not find me. I wonder if I should go to the Wang family and ask." Just as Yi Chen was about to leave, he suddenly saw Uncle Zhou from the window. He laughed. "Uncle Zhou, over here." "Young warrior Yi." Uncle Zhou did not come in from the front door. He flew straight up the stairs and landed in front of Yi Chen. He took out 3 blood sunflowers from his storage ring. Each of them was more than 200 years old, and one of them was even 400 years old. Almost half of it was dyed red. Uncle Zhou said apologetically, "I don't know if 3 are enough. Master Snake and I have just arrived at the main house, so we could only get 3 blood sunflowers." He did not know about the news in the Wang family, so he did not know that Yi Chen had battled with the 3rd grand aunt of the Wang family, and even killed the 4th master of the Wang family. Yi Chen frowned. To be honest, these 3 blood sunflowers seemed to be 800 years old, but did not mean that they could be compared with one 800 years old blood sunflower. Under normal circumstances, 10 400 years old blood sunflowers might not even be able to compare with one 800 years old blood sunflower, not to mention 1,000 years old blood sunflower. But he also knew that Uncle Zhou's power was limited. To be able to bring him 3 blood sunflowers was already his best. "It seems like I still have to go to the Wang family, at least collect some interest and get a few thousand years old blood sunflowers." A thought flashed through Yi Chen's mind. Chapter 234. Out of Yi Chen's expectation. When he entered the Wang family's villa, he was not stopped at all. In front of the majestic hall, Yi Chen stood there. Wang Hung was smiling, but he was actually smiling bitterly as he walked out. "I am the leader of the Wang family, Wang Hung. May I know your surname?" "My surname is Yi," Yi Chen said lightly. "Warrior Yi, my 4th brother, tried to assassinate you, and it was his fault. You killed him, so we are even. Next, my 3rd sister tried to kill you indiscriminately, and I am willing to make up for the sin." Yi Chen smiled meaningfully. "I seem to remember that you and your sister went to a nameless island before. Is that true?" "Ahem." Wang Hung looked embarrassed. "That is true." "Forget it. Honest people don't beat around the bush. Wang Snake and Uncle Zhou entered your Wang family, so they are considered part of the Wang family. I don't want to turn against them, and it will be hard to talk to them in the future. However, it is a fact that your sister wanted to kill me. Up until now, basically all the people who wanted to kill me are dead. I wonder if the Wang family can protect your sister?" Wang Hung said honestly no. The scariest part of the sword intent was not only in its attacking power, but also in its invisible killing power. Killing nothingness was not just an empty phrase, but it really existed. When the sword intent was not deep enough, it could kill the nothingness of a person, such as distracting thoughts and inner demons. When the sword intent reached a very high level, it could kill the nothingness of others. When it was for good, it could kill the distracting thoughts and inner demons of others to aid in their training. When it was for evil, it could kill the life and soul of others. No matter how powerful you were, if your spirit and willpower were not strong enough, you would not be able to stop the sword intent. Of course, Yi Chen obviously had not reached such a horrifying level. However, even if he could not kill the opponent's life and soul, he should be able to injure their spirit. Therefore, those who did not have strong willpower would not be able to withstand it. Yi Chen did not linger on this topic, so he said directly, "I need the blood sunflowers. The higher the temperature, the better, and the more you can have." Blood sunflower? Wang Heng let out a sigh of relief. He had thought that Yi Chen was going to ask for something difficult, and had already mentally prepared himself. He did not expect it to be for the blood sunflower. The blood sunflower might be a rare spirit flower in the outside world, but to the Wang clan it was not rare at all. Because of their constitution, the Wang clan had been growing the blood sunflower for generations. Wang Heng carefully said, "The blood sunflower is extremely difficult to cultivate. Most of them die after 500 years, and those that can grow to 800 years are 1 in 10,000. Those that can grow to 1,000 years are even rarer. Currently, there are 3,000-year blood sunflowers in the flower garden. If you don't mind, young hero, ye can come with me to the flower garden." All right. Regarding Wang Heng's words, Yi Chen understood. Humans had lives, and so did plants. It was not like all the blood sunflowers could grow to 1,000 years old blood sunflower. If that were the case, the true spirit continent was so vast, and there were so many unexplored places, there would be thousands or even tens of thousands of years old spirit plants and flowers everywhere. This was not something that could be forced. The Wang family's flower garden was at the back of the villa. It was dozens of miles wide, and as far as the eye could see, it was filled with all sorts of colors. The most eye-catching one was naturally the flower garden in the middle, which was filled with blood sunflowers. Arriving in front of the flower garden, Yi Chen scanned it with his soul power and immediately found dozens of 800 years old blood sunflowers. Without saying a word, he made a grabbing motion in the air, and the dozens of blood sunflowers flew out of the ground and landed on Yi Chen's hand. Wang Heng took out dozens of jade boxes from his storage ring and handed them to Yi Chen. These are specially made to store the blood sunflowers. They can store their yuan qi and prolong their life. Thanks. Yi Chen did not hesitate as he put the blood sunflowers into the box one by one, closed it, and continued his search. The blood sunflower garden took up 1/3 of the whole garden, with a length and width of 6 to 7 miles. 6 to 7 miles might only take a powerful, clasping Yuan realm warrior 10 blinks of an eye to cover, but it was more than enough for planting plants. In Yi Chen's world, it would take a normal person more than an hour to cover 6 to 7 miles. Luckily, Yi Chen's soul power was powerful enough to cover 2 to 3 miles. With one scan, the 800 years old blood sunflowers had nowhere to hide and were found immediately. This speed shocked Wang Heng, and he could not help but feel a bit sad. The Wang family indeed had a special method to grow the blood sunflowers, but an 800-year-old blood sunflower was not something that could be achieved just by growing it. It had to have a strong life force. Otherwise, it would lose its life force after 500 years, and the medicinal effect would decrease drastically. That would be for the best. When he is satisfied, our Wang family will be at peace. The reason why Wang Heng asked Yi Chen to come to the garden was because he was afraid that Yi Chen would not be satisfied. On the other side, Yi Chen's eyes brightened. In the middle of thousands of blood sunflowers, there was a red blood sunflower standing there. It was obviously 1,000 years old. Back. Releasing his Zhen Qi, This 1,000-year-old blood sunflower landed on Yi Chen's hand and was put into a jade box. Wang Heng laughed. Last time I checked, there were 3,000-year-old blood sunflowers. Because they would lose their yuan qi if they left the ground, I did not pick them. Now there are 2 left. Yi Chen said, don't worry. Now that I have the blood sunflower, the conflict between me and the Wang family will be over. Of course, I believe what you said. After hearing what Yi Chen had said, Wang Heng's attitude changed a bit. He realized that Yi Chen was actually quite easy to get along with. He was neither arrogant nor pretentious. However, it was this kind of person that was the scariest. It would be fine if he did not mess with him. But if he did, he would have to face a deadly counterattack. He was secretly glad that things had been saved in time. With 3,000-year-old blood sunflowers and 26 800-years-old blood sunflowers, Yi Chen was very satisfied. With this many blood sunflowers, it would be enough for him to perform his minor blood demon body separating great art many times. With this art, there would not be many people below the astral reaching realm who could beat him completely. In other words, he would not be afraid of anyone below the astral reaching realm. Of course, unless it was a life and death situation, it would be best not to use the minor blood demon body separating great art, not to mention the huge side effects. Just the fact that the minor blood demon body separating great art might cause a lot of trouble. Seeing that there were only a few 800-years-old blood sunflowers left, Yi Chen did not plan to continue picking them. He knew that he had to leave some space for himself. However, just as he was about to leave, he suddenly heard a sound of surprise. Warrior Yi, what's wrong? Wang Heng asked confusedly. Shoo! Yi Chen did not answer. He extended his body and landed right in the middle of the blood sunflower garden. Using his soul power, he could vaguely sense a bloody gold qi coming out from the soil, forming a special area. In this small area, the blood sunflowers were obviously growing more vigorously, and they were even more mature than the other blood sunflowers. Perhaps it was because the garden was too big and there were too many blood sunflowers, but no one paid attention to it. After all, without his powerful soul power, Yi Chen would not be able to notice it. There's something strange down there. A thought flashed through his mind. Yi Chen asked Wang Heng, can I open up this land? I can make up for the damage. Wang Heng did not doubt him, so he nodded and said, Warrior Yi, what are you talking about? As long as you are willing, you can take all of the blood sunflowers, and I will not complain. Just as he finished talking, Yi Chen made his move. He waved his right hand, and the soil in this area was dug out. It was a couple of meters wide and 10 meters long, looking like a mud pillar that had just been pulled out. Once the mud pillar came out of the ground, it immediately released a bright, bloody gold qi. Under Yi Chen's dismemberment, the mud pillar became smaller and smaller until it was only the size of a water tank. This water tank-sized mud block was completely covered in a bloody gold color, looking half transparent. Through the translucent mud block, Yi Chen and Wang Heng could see a palm-sized blood sunflower growing inside. Its whole body was a bloody gold color, and it looked like gold or jade shining brightly. This is 1,500 years, no. 2,000 years, no. 3,000 years. Blood sunflower. Wang Heng stuttered a bit. What did 3,000 years mean? Even life and death realm warriors could not live longer than 3,000 years. Among the plants, only a small part of them could live up to 3,000 years. However, those that could live up to 3,000 years were mostly useless, such as a 3,000-year-old tree. Plus, the original life of the blood sunflower was only 500 years. Being able to reach 3,000 years, it was not hard to imagine how valuable it would be. Yi Chen was shocked. This blood sunflower's value was probably not any lower than a mid-rank great weapon. A normal 1,000-years-old blood sunflower would be nothing in front of it. Yi Chen did not remove the mud block on the outside. He was afraid that something might happen to the blood sunflower, and if that happened, he would really regret it. Leader Wang. Yi Chen looked at Wang Heng. Wang Heng forced a smile. It's yours now. Yi Chen took out the low-rank great blade he got from the Silent Hills from Historidring and threw it to Wang Heng. This is atop of the low-rank great blade. Catching the blade, Wang Heng's impression of Yi Chen improved a lot. Normally, a low-rank great blade would not be as valuable as one petal of the 3,000 years old blood sunflower. But this time it was the Wang family, or more accurately, Wang Fong, who was in the wrong. If it were not for the fact that Yi Chen was powerful, he would have lost his life. He had already given the Wang family a lot of face by not fighting back. Comparing a 3,000 years old blood sunflower to his life, there was no need to explain which one was more important. I wonder if, warrior, you could leave some of its roots for me. The blood sunflower that could live up to 3,000 years old was very precious. Although the blood sunflower cultivated from its roots would not be as good as the main one, it should be able to live up to 1,500 years. Yi Chen nodded. He scanned with his soul power and found a root that would not affect the blood sunflower too much. He moved his fingers, and this tiny root was pulled out, floating towards Wang Heng. Wang Heng treated it like a treasure, carefully putting it in a jade box. Then he thought of something and said to Yi Chen, "The blood sunflower needs to absorb nutrients to survive. My Wang family has specially made these nutrition potions. I can give you some. Sprinkle some on it every once in a while. It will keep the blood sunflower alive." Yi Chen had already put the blood sunflower into his storage ring, so he would not reject this suggestion. The two left the garden and walked towards the living room. Suddenly, there was a strange vibration in the sky. Yi Chen and Wang Heng looked up. In the distant sky, a golden flame was expanding rapidly. Wherever it went, the clouds were torn apart, and the air turned into a vacuum state. "Fire Spirit Prince!" Wang Heng was shocked. Yi Chen asked curiously, "This person looks very young." Wang Heng explained, "The Fire Spirit Prince is the head disciple of the Fire Spirit Palace, one of the top 3 rank 6 martial institutions of the Black Dragon Empire. He was ranked 2nd in the last Hidden Dragon rank. I heard that 3 years ago, when he was only at the mid-clasping Yuan realm, he already had the power to kill peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors. 3 years later, he had already reached the peak-level late clasping Yuan realm. I wonder how powerful he would be. Last time, I heard that he went to the deep part of the Star Regional Lake to train. It seems to be true. Oh right, Warrior Yi, the Hidden Dragon rank competition is about to start. All the young warriors are heading towards the venue. You should not waste time and miss the chance to join the competition." If Yi Chen did not have the chance to join the Hidden Dragon rank, it would be a joke among jokes. In Wang Heng's mind, he had already ranked him in the top 20 of the Hidden Dragon rank, or even higher. The reason why he did not dare to say that he was invincible among his peers was because of the powerful, peak-level, clasping Yuan realm warriors. "I will join." Chapter 235. Wang Heng had given Yi Chen a whole box of nutrition potions for growing plants. There were 30 bottles in each box, which would be enough for him to use for a long time. After saying goodbye to the Wang family, Yi Chen did not leave the Snake Island right away. Instead, he flew into the air and circled around the island. The Snake Island had a radius of hundreds of miles. 1/3 of it was the city, while the other 2/3 were the wild forests. Besides that, there were also rivers and lakes formed by nature. Soon, Yi Chen found a flat land on the back of the Snake Island that was surrounded by mountains and rivers. This place is not bad. There are fish in the water, and there are wild animals in the deep mountains. Yi Chen was not here for sightseeing. In fact, he was planning to train here for a while, completely isolated from the outside world. First of all, I should train my mysterious great art to the 11th realm, the highest realm. With Yi Chen's comprehensive ability, he had been stuck at the 10th realm of the mysterious great art for a couple of months already. Normal mid-rank Earth realm martial arts would not be this difficult, but the mysterious great art was different. Although the 10th realm and the 11th realm were only one realm apart, the gap between them was huge. Not to mention the fact that the Zhen Qi at the 11th realm would be even purer and more aggressive. Only the Zhen Yuan that could be produced would be able to make any mid-rank Earth realm martial arts pale in comparison. It should be known that not every martial art would be able to produce Zhen Yuan during the clasping Yuan realm, even if it was just one breath. For example, Murong Qingcheng had trained one of the top martial arts of the Sky Demon Martial School, the top rank Earth realm Sky Demon Great Art. Once it reached the highest realm, the quality of the Zhen Qi would be close to the Jin Yuan. However, it would never reach the level of the Zhen Yuan. In comparison, the Zhen Qi quality of the mysterious great art was not as good as the Sky Demon Great Art. However, if one could produce a breath of Jin Yuan, the quality of the Jin Yuan would be way better than any Jin Qi, which would give it a certain advantage. One attack would be equivalent to a full power attack from a normal early astral reaching realm warrior. If it were not for that, Yi Chen would not have been so obsessed with the mysterious great art. Last time in the Gold Tripod City auction, among the last 3 items, there was a top rank Earth realm martial art manual, which was bought by an astral reaching realm warrior for 60,000 mid-rank soul stones. There were 3 reasons why Yi Chen did not participate in the bidding. First, he was worried that the opponent would take revenge on him. Second, the price was too high. 60,000 mid-rank soul stones would be more than half of his wealth. The last reason was that he thought it was too low and not worth it at all. A top rank Earth realm martial art might be more powerful than a normal mid-rank Earth realm martial art. But the mysterious great art was not a normal mid-rank Earth realm martial art. It was the top of the top, since it came from the Heaven Dream Battle Palace after all. Plus, once trained to its 11th realm, one could produce a breath of Zhen Yuan, which was something that normal high-rank Earth realm martial arts could never compete with. Instead of finding a high-rank Earth realm martial art to train, it would be better to train the mysterious great art to its 11th realm. Unless there was a top rank Earth realm martial art or even a heaven realm martial art for him to choose from, there was no need for him to choose. Inside the man-made cave, Yi Chen sat in the middle of the cave with his legs crossed and both of his hands on his abdomen, slowly activating his Jin Qi. Under Yi Chen's control, the spinning speed of the Zhen Qi spiral inside his dantian increased. Wisps of Jin Qi were thrown out one after another, making a big circulation along his limbs and hundreds of meridians, forming an extremely complicated and mysterious human Zhen Qi circulation map. As the number of big circulation increased, the Zhen Qi spiral seemed to become tighter and tighter, shrinking towards the center step by step. Nobody could see anything from the outside, but the pressure in the center of the spiral was extremely horrifying. It was a power that could even shatter top-grade steel, and was the core of the Zhen Qi spiral. Time flowed like a small river outside the cave. During this period of time, some high-level warriors would occasionally come to this place, intending to train their martial arts or study their martial arts. Encountering this kind of situation, Yi Chen's Zhen Qi would burst out, and his sword intent would naturally be activated, shooting out a wisp of Zhen Qi along with it. The Zhen Qi that contained the sword intent was just as powerful as the sword Qi. The people who came would cover their heads and run away, knowing that there was a powerful warrior training in this place, and they should not be disturbed. As time went by, all the high-level warriors who lived on the Snake Island knew about this, and had listed the area within 10 miles as a forbidden area. No one dared to step in. However, human beings were always curious about the unknown, and warriors were no exception. Everyone was trying to guess who was the one training. Naturally, Yi Chen did not know what the others were thinking. He was at the most crucial moment, and whether he could succeed or not depended on this one move. Break. The Zhen Qi map inside his body was only missing one point, which was located in the center. As long as he could break through that point, the complete Zhenqi map of the mysterious great art would appear. Unfortunately, it was not that easy to break through. Although warriors had broken through all the meridians and acupoints in their bodies, it would be easy to break through by running their Zhenqi alone. However, every martial art had its own unique Zhenqi map. If one wanted to break through to the next level, he would have to run his Zhenqi according to the map. Otherwise, there would be no effect at all. Within 10 days, Yi Chen had thought about it countless times and finally found the perfect breakthrough point. With this breakthrough point as the foundation, the rest of his Zhenqi would continue to flow, and the power would increase layer by layer. He should be able to break through the center point. Without any mistakes, Yi Chen had succeeded. The perfect Zhenqi map of the mysterious great art had been completely formed. His Zhenqi circulation speed had increased by 30% all of a sudden, and it was connected with the Zhenqi spiral in his dantian. After that, the Zhenqi spiral shrunk twice in a row and then exploded with a bright, dark blue light. The light filled up the entire cave, and the air vibrated like water. The 11th realm of the mysterious great art. Late clasping Yuan realm. Yi Chen's voice sounded a bit surprised. The moment the mysterious great art had broken through to the 11th realm, for some unknown reason, the bottleneck of his cultivation had suddenly been broken. The quantity of his Zhenqi had been increasing rapidly, and the quality of his Zhenqi had also increased. It was obviously a sign that he had reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Normally, if he wanted to break through to the next realm, it would take him at least 3 to 4 months, and that was only because he had a great comprehensive ability, which made it easier for him to break through to the next realm. However, he had not expected that his cultivation would improve at the same time as the mysterious great art had reached the highest realm, and he had successfully reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Is it because my sword intent has been greatly improved, and I have accumulated enough power? After thinking for a long time, Yi Chen could only come up with this one explanation, and none of the other explanations were convincing enough. No matter what, the simultaneous improvement of the mysterious great art and his cultivation was a great thing for Yi Chen. Right now, he was not even sure of his own power. If he could, he really wanted to fight against the ghost head, who had already been killed, and see how many sword attacks it would take to kill him. 3 sword attacks? Or 1 sword attack? Shaking his head, Yi Chen put his attention on the Zhenqi spiral in his dantian. Didn't they say that once the mysterious great art reaches the 11th realm, a stream of Zhenyuan would appear? How come there is no sign of it at all? Yi Chen did not think that the content of the manual was fake. There must be a reason for it. After sensing it carefully, Yi Chen finally found a drop of Zhenqi that was turning dark blue in color. Compared to the other, slightly lighter colored Zhenqi, this drop of Zhenqi had a darker color and a higher quality. What was worth noticing was that the dark blue liquid Zhenqi was still increasing in quality, and the process was very subtle, so subtle that Yi Chen almost did not notice it at all. Yi Chen thought to himself, "It is true that the 11th realm of the mysterious great art can produce a stream of Zhenyuan, but it will take some time. If I am not wrong, once this drop of Zhenyuan is successfully produced, it will be consumed after one use. If I want to use it again, I will have to wait for the new Zhenyuan to be produced, and the cycle will never end. That is not bad. The mysterious great art is only a mid-rank earth realm martial art after all, so it would be impossible to produce Zhenyuan in a short time. So, with 1 more drop of Zhenyuan inside my body, I will have 1 more ace attack, which is even more horrifying than the minor blood demon body, separating great art." Feeling relieved, Yi Chen slowly let out a breath, stood up and walked out of the cave. Beside the river, a bonfire was burning, and Yi Chen was grilling fish. Not eating or drinking for more than 10 days had affected Yi Chen's physical strength to a certain extent. Before warriors reached the Sea of Souls realm, it was necessary for them to eat. The aroma of grilled fish filled the air, attracting a lot of low-rank beasts. These beasts watched from afar, not daring to come closer. Although Yi Chen's qi seemed normal, the deaths of those high-rank beasts were still fresh in their minds. None of them dared to fight for food. Yi Chen chuckled as he waved his hand. 7 to 8 huge grilled fish that were not completely cooked shot out in all directions, landing in front of the beasts. Woo! Woo! The low-rank beasts fought with each other, enjoying the food. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Yi Chen chased away those low-rank beasts who were watching. For the next period of time, he was ready to train his sword movements, and he could not afford to be distracted. Right now, Yi Chen's 3 most powerful sword movements were the one-sword attack, the lone peak kill, and the sky-shattering clouds. As Yi Chen reached the late clasping Yuan realm, the one-sword attack's power had increased again. No one knew if it was a tragedy, but the lone peak kill was still more powerful than the one-sword attack because of its completion. Plus, the one-sword attack had a fatal flaw, which was that it consumed a lot of mental power. So, even Yi Chen did not dare to use it too much. Therefore, the one-sword attack had to be abandoned again. Of course, it did not mean that the one-sword attack was useless. This sword movement would grow along with the warrior's cultivation. At least before the Sea of Souls realm, it would not be outdated. If there was anything to blame, it could only be blamed on Yi Chen's great comprehensive ability, which allowed him to combine the sword movements and the lone peak 13 swords into one. It had reached completion, and its power was almost at the top rank Earth realm sword art. Although the lone peak kill had reached completion, Yi Chen still wanted to train it. In his opinion, although the sword movement seemed to have reached completion, the poetic perspective of the lone peak 13 swords still had a slight flaw. This flaw was not man-made, but because Yi Chen had not performed the completed lone peak kill yet. As for the sky-shattering clouds that had combined the 3 movements of the sky cloud sword art, it was a huge project for Yi Chen. It was too difficult to combine low-rank Earth realm sword arts, because once the sword art reached the low-rank Earth realm, each movement would be very close to perfection and would not be able to go any further. Right now, if Yi Chen wanted to combine them together, the difficulty would be unimaginable. Using the example from Yi Chen's world, if you put some scattered parts together, you might be able to make a machine. But to combine a few successfully made machines together, it would require a shocking amount of skills and brains, and it would not be something that could be done in a short period of time. The sky-shattering clouds was hard to combine, but Yi Chen had never underestimated its potential. If he could combine all of the sky cloud sword art into one movement, its power would reach the heaven realm. Plus, it would be a heaven realm sword movement that he had created himself, which would be different from learning from others. Chapter 236. The completed lone peak kill was extremely horrifying. Before, 1 meter was the best attacking distance for the lone peak kill, but after reaching completion, that distance had increased to 3 meters. Within 3 meters, with one sword attack, the enemy would have the illusion that they were thousands of miles away from each other. No matter how fast the enemy's sword art was, it would still be impossible for them to attack in one go. So, they would have plenty of time to defend or counterattack. In a battle between powerful warriors, even the slightest mistake could be fatal. This was exactly the purpose of the lone peak kill. Right now, Yi Chen wanted to make this poetic perspective more natural, to merge with the nature, so that warriors with powerful mental power would not be able to tell the difference between real and fake. As for how to make it natural and merge with the nature, according to Yi Chen's plan, it would be to observe the mountains and the rivers to find the pattern. Mountains had their own height, but they did not move at all. Water could be hard or soft, but it would never stop flowing. Combining the two together, one being still and the other being active, they would contradict each other, but they would also be in perfect harmony. It was a realm that was hard to reach with human power. Yi Chen suddenly remembered the 3 levels of Buddhism training. At the first level, mountains were mountains and water were water. This was the beginning of training, where one could only see the surface of things, but not the essence. At the second level, mountains were not mountains and water were not water. After reaching a certain level, one would be able to see the essence of things from the surface, and would not be confused by the naked eye. At the third level, mountains were still mountains and water were still water. At this level, one would be able to enter the realm of selflessness, and mountains and rivers would no longer be a hindrance to oneself. Right now, Yi Qin was still at the level where mountains were mountains and water were still water. But of course, compared to normal warriors, his realm was way higher. At least he was already close to the essence of things, while the others were still in a blur, clinging to what they saw in front of them. If I could reach the level where mountains were not mountains and water were not water, not to mention the Lone Peak Hill, even the sky-shattering clouds would be completely merged with it, and even more poetic perspectives, or even more. These 3 levels of Buddhism seemed to contain everything, and the gap was huge. Even if it was only one level, the gap between them would be like the sky and the abyss. Yi Qin did not expect to reach the second level. In fact, it was useless to hope for it. The second level was too far away from him. Seeing through the essence of things was already close to the realm of the heavenly Tao. It was impossible to comprehend it, even if he wanted to. He could only accumulate it step by step. If the first level was divided into 3 stages, then Yi Qin was only in the second stage. The only thing he could do was to use the second stage to perfect the poetic perspective of the Lone Peak Hill. On the first day, Yi Qin observed the nearby mountains and rivers. The next day, Yi Qin observed the mountains and rivers within a radius of 5 kilometers. On the third day, Yi Qin was observing the landscape of the Snake Island. From the small environment to the big environment, Yi Qin's comprehension became deeper and deeper. The so-called mountains and rivers were like an ink painting in his eyes, full of artistic conception. Today, Yi Qin left the Snake Island and stepped into the Star Regional Lake. On the Star Regional Lake, the water was sparkling. It was endless. Looking from afar, the sky and the water seemed to be connected. Stepping on the lake water, Yi Qin entered a mysterious realm. He no longer tried to comprehend the poetic perspective of the Lone Peak Hill. Instead, it went from intentional to unintentional. But it would not be correct to say that it was unintentional, because his goal was indeed to comprehend the poetic perspective of the Lone Peak Hill. This way, it would be closer to nature. In front of him, the surface of the lake was shaking. 3 clasping Yuan realm warriors were attacking a rank 6 beast together. It was an intense battle. Under his feet, the surface of the lake started to ripple. Yi Qin's mind was suddenly enlightened. It turned out that what the poetic perspective of the Lone Peak Hill lacked was a sense of reality. The mountain did not move, and the water flowed. This was the most rigid state. It looked like it was still and moving, but it was actually silent. The mountain was because of its height, so there should be wind blowing through it. The river was because of its softness, so it should be wrinkled by the wind, reflecting the mountain, the trees, and even the plants. A light smile appeared on his face as Yi Qin walked towards the battle site. The 3 saw Yi Qin from afar, their faces full of caution. Shoo! Extending his body, Yi Qin appeared within 10 meters of the 3 within a second. Right at this moment, an extremely strange scene happened. The 3 of them felt like time had slowed down. Yi Qin was slowly walking towards them from thousands of miles away. He was very, very far away from them. That rank 6 demonic beast with bloodshot eyes was the same. It also did notice that Yi Qin had already arrived in front of it. Reaching out his hand to touch the head of the rank 6 beast, Yi Qin flashed his body and flew out, leaving this place. The 3 people and the beast came back to their senses. When they saw that Yi Qin was already on the other side, they were extremely shocked, as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? He was so far away. How could he be behind us? Is he a ghost? Are you kidding me? It is broad daylight right now. The rank 6 beast's eyes were wide open. Its claws could not help but touch its head. In a blur, it felt like someone had touched it. All of a sudden, a cold feeling spread through its body. All of its hair stood up, and it was in an extremely terrified state. Phut! This rank 6 beast is going crazy. Even its hair is standing up. One of them saw the rank 6 beast's hair stand up. He thought that it was going to kill them, so he yelled out. On a tall mountain on an island far away, the Lone Peak Hills' sword movement and poetic perspective have reached completion. Now I need to learn the sky-shattering clouds. Yi Chen shot up into the sky, shooting towards the clouds. In the Windy Nation, in the main hall of the Sky Cloud Martial School, besides the leader and all the inner masters, there were 3 other people standing in the hall. Yi Chen was familiar with these 3 people. They were Su Jing, Luo Hanshan, and Zhu Mei. Luo Xinglia looked at the 4 people down below, feeling quite proud. Who could have thought that after Yi Chen and Su Jing, Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei had both reached the early clasping yuan realm? Now, the Sky Cloud Martial School had a total of 4 core disciples who had reached the clasping yuan realm, which was way more powerful than the other martial institutions in the Windy Nation. As far as he knew, after the first and second core disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School had died in the Heavenly Dream ancient place, only one of them had reached the early clasping yuan realm. The South Rudra Martial School had 2, the first core disciple Qin Yulian and the second core disciple Nangong Yin. The North Snow Martial Academy had 3 core disciples, the North Snow Child, Lynch, and the Tyrant Blade Yu. Just like the North Snow Martial Academy, the Emerald Martial Palace also had 3 people, Young Master Emerald Zhuang Fei, Extreme Palm Lu Wuxiang, and Ji Shuiyan. Ji Shuiyan was indeed talented. She had surpassed the original 3rd core disciple, Shirpatian, and was even more powerful than Lu Wuxiang. She was only second to the Emerald Child, Zhuang Fei. Even Luo Xinglia was quite shocked, since Ji Shuiyan's training time was way too short. Even so, the Sky Cloud Martial School had 4 core disciples who had reached the clasping yuan realm, which was something that none of the top 4 martial institutions, including the Emerald Martial Academy, could compare with. The reason why the 3 of them were gathered today was for the South Rudra region's Hidden Dragon Rank competition, which was held every 3 years. Chapter 237. The competition of the Hidden Dragon Rank was held once every 3 years. All the young warriors under the age of 24 could participate, regardless of their status. There were hundreds of billions of people in the South Rudra region, and there were countless young warriors and martial geniuses. However, there would only be 72 people on the Hidden Dragon Rank. Once one made it onto the Hidden Dragon Rank, it would be a great honor and glory. In fact, the young warriors on the Hidden Dragon Rank were even more famous than most of the astral-reaching realm warriors, because the number of astral-reaching realm warriors was way more than 72 people, while there were only 72 people on the Hidden Dragon Rank. However, this year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition was the most popular one in the past 1,000 years. The qualification to participate directly went beyond the condensing reality realm and reached the clasping yuan realm. In other words, without reaching the clasping yuan realm, no matter how powerful one was, one would not be able to participate in the competition. Of course, many of the young warriors who had reached the late condensing reality realm and were able to challenge those with higher cultivation would feel that it was unfair. If they had the chance, they would still be able to be famous in the South Rudra region. Unfortunately, it was different now. There were way too many young warriors who had reached the clasping yuan realm. You could beat normal, early clasping yuan realm warriors, but there were so many clasping yuan realm warriors participating in the competition. Any mid-clasping yuan realm warrior could easily knock you out. It would be impossible for you to compete for the 72 places on the ranking. Even early clasping yuan realm warriors would not be able to compete with you. Luo Xinglia glanced at the 3 of them and finally landed on Su Jing. During the past year, her cultivation had not improved much. She was still at the early clasping yuan realm, and was still quite a distance away from the peak-level early clasping yuan realm. She was slightly weaker than Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei. However, during the competition, Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei could not even take 3 punches from her. Some of the inner masters had also admitted that they could not compete with Su Jing, which had surprised Luo Xinglia a lot. He wondered what had happened to Su Jing during the past year. Everyone had their own secrets. As long as they were loyal enough to the martial institution, Luo Xinglia would not ask about it. On the contrary, he was quite happy about it. With Su Jing's help, the Sky Cloud Martial School might be able to shine in the Hidden Dragon Rank competitions and not lose too badly. Indeed, the Hidden Dragon Rank competition that only happens once every 3 years will be held in less than 2 months. This year's competition will be the most prestigious one in the past 1,000 years, and the qualification to participate will be raised to the clasping Yuan realm. There are so many disciples in the Sky Cloud Martial School, but only the 3 of you and Yi Qin have reached the clasping Yuan realm. Therefore, you will be representing the Sky Cloud Martial School in this year's competition. Is there any problem? Luo Xinglia cleared his throat and asked. No problem. Luo Xinglia nodded and smiled very well. Before you join the competition, the headmaster will explain to you all the things that you need to pay attention to. The headmaster took over and said, the Hidden Dragon Rank competitions are divided into 3 stages. The first stage is the 3 challenges of the Dragon Door. The second stage is the elimination competition, and the third stage is the ranking competition. The first challenge is the wall-breaking challenge. Those who do not have enough attacking power will be eliminated immediately. The second challenge is the getting Jade Tag, and those who do not have the Jade Tag will be eliminated as well. The last challenge is the most difficult one, which is called the Jumping Dragon Gate. Only those who manage to make it through will be able to officially compete on the stage, and those who fail will still be eliminated. Normally, 70% of the people would fail in these 3 challenges, and only 30% would make it through. I hope that all of you can make it through these 3 challenges and join the knockout competitions. The 3 of them had never participated in the Hidden Dragon Rank competitions before. Hearing them, except for Su Jing, the rest of them were a little bit surprised. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Door sounded very difficult, but 70% of the people had failed in these 3 stages. It was a horrifying ratio. The headmaster glanced at Su Jing, then said to Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei, you 2 have reached the clasping Yuan realm a bit too late after all. You have not accumulated enough power yet. At the crucial moment, you need to use your brain, and not just use brute force. Yes, headmaster. Luo Hanshan tightened his fists. He had missed the Hidden Dragon Rank competition last time, so he had to succeed this time. He had to at least make it through the 3 challenges of the Dragon Door. As for the elimination competition, it is actually a competition for points. Because of the competition being so intense, even if you do not get injured from the beginning to the end, you will still feel tired mentally. Therefore, during the elimination competition, you can choose to give up if you run into an opponent that you cannot win against. But of course, if you are able to fight against an opponent, you better not give up. It will be a test for you, and you might be able to make a breakthrough during the competition. Right then, Luo Xinglia said, all right, that's all you need to pay attention to. The most important thing is still your own power. The rest is just a small thing. You guys can leave now. Get ready. We will go to the competition venue tomorrow, the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. Waiting until the 3 left, Luo Xinglia looked around and said, what do you guys think about the 3 of them? Most of the people shook their heads. An inner master said, Su Jing has a chance to make it into the top 100. Hanshan and Zhu Mei will be in danger. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Door will be a challenge for them. Indeed, they have just reached the clasping Yuan realm not long ago. It would be a bit difficult for them. Another person said. Luo Xinglia knocked on the arm of his chair, laughed, and said, It is already a surprise to have Su Jing. Not to mention, we still have the biggest ace in the hole. Yi Chen. I wonder how powerful he has become after 1 year of training. The head master showed a smile. He was quite expectant. The fourth master said, of course, with this brat's talent, he might have reached the mid-clasping yuan realm. Added with his sword intent, he would have a chance to make it into the list. Hee, I agree with the fourth master. Most of the inner masters still liked Yi Chen and had listed him as a rare martial genius of the Sky Cloud Martial School. But some of them were more pessimistic. On the path of training, although talent and hard work are important, 1 year is still too short. I am afraid it is not going to be a good thing. To be honest, Yi Chen is indeed a rare martial genius of our Sky Cloud Martial School. But even geniuses need to take a nap. He might not be able to grow fast all the time. He might have to stop for a while at some point. Training is a good thing. It would help him grow faster. But who can be sure that 1 year of training would be better than 1 year of hard training? After all, there would be too many things during training, and it would be easy to get distracted. On the other hand, with hard training, you would not waste any of your time. The head master argued, everything has its pros and cons. Without a doubt, training would be more beneficial than that. With Yi Chen's calm personality, he would know what his goal is, and he would definitely work towards it. Luo Xinglia stopped everyone's discussion. You all have a point. But as a member of the Sky Cloud Martial School, you should have confidence in your disciples. No matter what kind of environment a genius is in, they would always be different. A genius who could not handle all kinds of challenges would not be able to achieve much no matter how much resources we give him. With his experience, he actually had a lot of confidence in Yi Chen. But of course, he had the same opinion as the fourth master. He thought that Yi Chen's current cultivation should be at the mid-clasping yuan realm, and his sword intent might have improved a little. With the combination of the two, he might be able to get into the top 72. Oh, right, Yi Chen would not miss the competition, would he? Suddenly, someone asked. The head master shook his head. No, he would not. People who have learned the sword intent would not break their promise, unless... The head master did not finish his sentence. The training would be extremely dangerous, and he hoped that Yi Chen would be able to join the competition safely. 10,000 meters in the sky, the sea of clouds was rolling and everything was white. In the middle of the sea of clouds, Yi Chen held up his star-scar sword with both of his hands. He closed his eyes slightly and stood still like a mountain. This time, he did not use his soul power. He was purely using the poetic perspective of the sky-shattering clouds to feel the pattern and mystery of the sea of clouds, trying to find a way to break through. Break. The second the sea of clouds and the poetic perspective seemed to be in harmony, Yi Chen threw out his sword attack. It was a very simple sword attack. There was no wind-breaking sound, no bright sword chi, but that unbreakable exploding power that could destroy everything and cut everything into pieces. Pooh! The sword pressure made contact with the sea of clouds. Within hundreds of meters, the sea of clouds looked like it had been torn into pieces. They flew everywhere and could not gather back together. No, it's still lacking a little. It seems like something is missing. Yi Chen opened his eyes and shook his head. He had stayed in the sea of clouds for 3 days and 3 nights. If it were not for the pellets that could instantly replenish Shen Qi, his mysterious Shen Qi would not be able to support him to stay in the sky for a long time. In these 3 days, there was nothing but the sea of clouds in his eyes. He thought that with the 70% sword intent as his support, it would be much easier since it was only combining the 4th movement of the Sky Cloud sword art, which would be much easier than the completed Lone Peak Kill, sword movement, and poetic perspective. Unfortunately, he had guessed wrong. The Lone Peak Kill and the sky-shattering clouds were 2 different areas. Without reaching an extremely high realm, there would be no way to find the similarities between them. Therefore, combining the sky-shattering clouds would have to start all over again, and it had nothing to do with what he had learned from the Lone Peak Kill. Pap! The sunny weather suddenly darkened. The first of the three sky, the surprising sky, had thunder yuan chi pouring down, turning into bright lightning and shooting into the sea of clouds. The sea of clouds seemed to have gained an endless amount of power. It kept rolling, and the color had turned from white to black. It looked like an ancient demon god was about to wake up and punish the land. Thunder, cloud, exploding power! Yi Qin did not try to avoid the attack of the lightning. Although the thunder yuan chi in the surprising sky could kill warriors below the astral reaching realm. Once it came down from the surprising sky, it would be mixed with a lot of other chi, which would decrease its power by a lot. It would not affect Yi Qin at all. I see. Just learning the clouds is way too hard, and it is still not something I can understand. But with the thunder power, the exploding power of the clouds would be much more obvious, which would make it easier to understand. Yi Qin was very clear that just the natural power alone seemed easy, but it was actually the hardest to learn. If he could add something else into it, it might be able to help him. For example, if he tried to learn the clouds by himself, he would not get any results for 3 days. But right now, with the thunder yuan chi pouring in, the barrier had been shattered, and he had finally learned something. Without closing his eyes, Yi Chen was in the middle of the lightning and the sea of clouds. He yelled loudly, his voice sounding like thunder as he threw out a sword attack with an endless exploding power. Crack! The power of that sword attack was unimaginable. It had attracted all of the lightning around Yi Chen's body, and the sea of clouds had gathered together, increasing Yi Chen's power. The next second, thousands of meters in front of him, the sea of clouds splashed everywhere like water. Lightning and thunder clashed together, bursting out an eye-catching bright light. The combination of the fourth movement had been completed. Chapter 238. With the sky-shattering clouds, which had combined the 4 movements of the sky-cloud sword art and the completed Lone Peak Kill, Yi Chen's understanding of sword arts had almost reached its limit. He would not be able to make any more progress in a short period of time. But it was already more than enough, since no one knew more about the horrifying power of these 2 top sword movements than him. If the Lone Peak Kill was a one-hit kill, then the sky-shattering clouds would be the kind of powerful attack that could shake the whole world. It was fearless and unbreakable. Shoo! Since he had achieved his goal, Yi Chen did not have to stay in the sky anymore. He extended his body and turned into a beam of blue light, shooting out of the clouds and returning to the ground. After resting for 1 night on the Snake Island, Yi Chen left on the 2nd day. As for Wang Snake, who had the intention to join the competition, he had not come out from the forbidden place of the Wang family yet. In fact, even if he came out, he would not be allowed to join the hidden dragon rank competition. It was a rule of the Wang family. The competition would be held in an ancient city in the middle of the 3 big countries. It was called the Hidden Dragon Ancient City, which was said to be an ancient city. Under the city, there was a dragon fountain that could leave at any time, which would guarantee the luck of the ancient city. The distance to the Hidden Dragon Ancient City was more than 1,000,000 miles. If he rushed at his full speed, it would only take him 20 days to get there. However, a long journey was not the same as a short one. Even with the pellets that could instantly replenish his Zhen-Qi, Yi Chen's meridians would not be able to handle such a high speed of Zhen-Qi circulation. His meridians would definitely break down and he would become a disabled person. Normally, for a distance of more than 100,000 miles, clasping Yuan realm warriors would not rush at their full speed. Most of them would fly at 1/3 or even half of their full speed, and they would have to take some time to rest and recover their meridians, adjusting their body to the best condition. Leaving the Star Regional Lake, Yi Qin passed through the north of the Black Dragon Empire. The weather here was extremely cold. The mountains and lakes were all covered in thick ice and snow. The wind that was blowing on his face was no different from ice blades, hitting on his protective Zhen-Qi layer and making a cracking sound. Leader, don't worry. I will be back in a bit. There was a small village in the endless ice mountains. Outside of the village, a teenager who was about 18 years old was waving his hand to say goodbye. The village chief was a white-haired old man. Although his voice wasn't loud and the gale was strong, his aged voice seemed to be able to ignore the laws of space and directly reach the young man's ears. Didn't you say that you were going out for a stroll? Why did you steal so many spirit stones from me last night? The young man rubbed his head and laughed dryly. You found out. Actually, I plan to find a place to cultivate in seclusion. I can't do that without spirit stones. All right, I have a lot of inspiration now. I need to find a place to go into seclusion as soon as possible. Otherwise, all the inspiration will run away. In such a frigid environment, the young man only wore a simple, short coat. His figure flashed and disappeared into the gray gale. Hundreds of miles away, the young man laughed proudly. Silly old man, who's going into seclusion? Audiobook, I'm going to join the hidden dragon rank competitions and meet the young warriors from the South Rudra region. Then I will travel around the true spirit continent and meet the young warriors from all over the world. Anyway, I will not be coming back. Roar! There were many demon beasts in the Frost Mountain Range. A top level 6 demon beast, the double-headed ice demon bear, suddenly jumped out of the snow and pounced at the young man. The young man had no intention of dodging, or rather, he was indifferent, allowing the twin-headed demonic ice bear to pounce on him. Dang! The young man did not move an inch, but the twin-headed demonic ice bear looked like it had bumped into a mountain that was made of steel. Move aside! I have no time to play with you. Grabbing the twin-headed demonic ice bear's paw, the young man casually threw it away. No one knew where he had thrown it. Outside of the village gate, the middle-aged man wearing beast-skin clothes said helplessly, Leader, this brat is definitely going to join the hidden dragon rank competitions. Are you really going to let him go? The leader rubbed his beard and said with a smile, Young people should always have some ambition. Even if he does not go out, I will figure out a way to let him go. Then why didn't you let him go before? He is not old enough, and his power is not enough. Plus, he has been a bit arrogant lately. Let him go out and try his luck. The cold wind was extremely cold, cutting through people's faces like knives. It had been 10 days, but Yi Chun had still not made it through the northern part of the Black Dragon Empire. Although there are not many cities in the north, the quality of the warriors is quite high. It seems that the cold place is indeed challenging, especially when one's cultivation is low. Standing on top of an icy mountain, Yi Chun stood with his hands behind his back, taking a break. In the distance, a human figure flew over at an extreme speed. He is about the same age as me, and his cultivation is also at the late clasping yuan realm. He should be a good opponent. I should not be able to beat him with one punch. The young man named Audiobook did not slow down. Instead, he increased his speed. He rushed towards Yi Chun at a speed that was faster than the sound barrier as he yelled, Take this! Yi Chun had already noticed him and thought that he was just passing by. He did not know that he was actually coming for him. Crack! The icy mountain was the first to collapse under the horrifying fist pressure. Avalanches were everywhere, looking horrifying. Yi Chun stepped on a falling rock, staring at the young man in a simple short robe. 100 meters, 50 meters, 10 meters. Right then, Audiobook realized that Yi Chun was getting further and further away from him. But the next second he had been punched, and his body could not help but fly backward. Strange, how did he manage to hit me? Audiobook was shocked. Take another punch. Audiobook did not believe it, so he stabilized his body and flew towards Yi Chun at an even faster speed. He threw out a punch from a distance, and the air kept on exploding. Yi Chun's eyebrows twitched. Such a powerful fist art. His power is even more powerful than Wang Heng's. That physical defense is unimaginable. He had been punched by me, but he did not seem to be affected at all. Boom! Tua Baku was punched again. The clothes on his upper body had been torn apart, revealing his horrifying muscles, which looked like rocks but also like steel. I see. You are messing with my sense of space. Tua Baku spat out a mouthful of saliva and laughed out loud. He threw out another attack for the third time. He was confident that this time he would be able to hit Yi Chen and blow him away. Your instinct is very sharp. Unfortunately, it would be useless even if you knew. Yi Chen smiled lightly as he tapped on the falling rock with the tip of his foot, appearing within 10 meters of Tua Baku. His right fist was thrown out at a moderate speed, giving people a feeling that it was very casual. Chin. His iron-like muscles shone with a dark blue light. Tua Baku had been punched in the chest, and his whole body had sunk into the collapsed snow peak, disappearing without a trace. The snow peak had exploded, and Tua Baku had shot out without any injuries. Yi Chen said, "All right, if this is a battle, then the result is already out. If you want to continue, I cannot guarantee that you will survive." Once the words came out, Yi Chen intentionally let out a bit of sword intent. Tua Baku said, "So you are a sword user. Damn. So, I do not even have the right to force you to use all of your power. So sick." Yi Chen said, "If you had run into other people, you would have had a great chance of winning. But running into me is your misfortune. Indeed, no matter how hard I tried, I could not hit you. Oh, right, you must be going to the hidden dragon rank competition, right? Me too. How about we go together? It is so boring on the road." Tua Baku could not stand the loneliness the most. He had stayed in a small village for more than 10 years. He really did not know how he had survived. Yi Chen glanced at Tua Baku. "Never mind. If I go with you, I am afraid that I will not be able to make it to the hidden dragon ancient city." This guy was too good at finding trouble. It was hard to guarantee that he would not find someone else to fight and waste time. Without giving Tua Baku any chance, Yi Chen extended his body and shot out. Tua Baku scratched his head, feeling a bit speechless. There is a late clasping Yuan realm warrior over there as well, but he is a bit older. Inside a mountain at the edge of the 100,000 mountain range, Morong Qingqing, who was in purple, was sitting on a cushion with her legs crossed. Her hair was like a waterfall and her eyes were closed tight. Her beautiful body was like a jade statue, not moving at all. There was a vague black chi flow in the air, and as the black chi flow appeared, the ground would sink a couple of feet. Looking over her head, there was a straight tunnel going down. It was not hard to guess that Morong Qingqing's original training spot was on top of the mountain. As time went on, it had sunk down bit by bit, eventually reaching the bottom of the mountain. After an unknown period of time, a shadow of a black petal appeared on top of Morong Qingqing's head. The shadow was getting clearer and clearer until it was almost real. When it was only one step away from the real thing, the shadow shattered and completely merged into Morong Qingqing's body. Her Zhen Qi flowed faster, and an extremely mysterious Zhen Qi route map appeared in her body. It looked like a pattern, but also like a pattern. The lines had been dyed by the Zhen Qi into a crystal black color, resonating with the Zhen Qi spiral in her lower abdomen. Right at the moment when the Zhen Qi route map was formed, the mountain was crushed by a terrifying invisible force and was completely flattened. Standing in the middle of a pile of rocks, there was not a single thing within 10 meters around Morong Qingqing. Those huge rocks were easily crushed before they could even get close to her. "I've reached the 10th level of the great Sky Devil magic. The Sky Devil flower is indeed worthy of its reputation." Slowly letting out a breath, Morong Qingqing looked around and didn't feel surprised at all. In the martial city, she had bid farewell to Yi Chen, then went back to the Sky Devil Martial School to make some preparations. After that, she immediately left for the 100,000 mountain range to look for the Sky Devil flower. The Sky Devil flower was extremely rare in the world. Normally, it would be guarded by a Sky Devil serpent. Fortunately, as Qi Shaofeng had said, the Sky Devil serpent had once fought against a powerful being, and had also suffered from the thunder calamity, and was either severely injured or dead. After spending over 2 months, Murong Qingqing finally found the Sky Devil flower in a cold lake. The Sky Devil flower was extremely powerful, and it was obviously impossible to swallow it all at once. Therefore, Murong Qingqing only took one petal and swallowed it. After a couple of months of closed-door training, her top-rank Earth realm martial art, the Great Sky Devil art, had directly improved from the 8th level to the 10th level. If she swallowed the whole Sky Devil flower, it would be very possible for her to reach the 14th level. As for the 15th level, it should not be that easy. But of course, what Murong Qingqing wanted was not the Sky Devil flower's medicinal effect, but the mysterious power contained in it. This mysterious power was closely related to the Great Sky Devil art, and only with this power could she break through to the next level of her martial art. Furthermore, the Sky Devil flower had helped her to reach the late clasping Yuan realm from the peak of the mid-clasping Yuan realm. Her power had not only increased by 1 or 2%, but had almost doubled. Now that I think about it, the Hidden Dragon Rank competition will start in a month. I won't be able to make it in time if I travel by myself. I have to go to the Sky Devil Martial School and choose a top-rank level 6 flying demonic beast. Her body flashed, and her purple robe fluttered in the air. Like a bubble, Murong Qingqing's body disappeared. Chapter 239. The time of the Hidden Dragon Rank competition was getting closer and closer, and the South Rudra region was getting more and more chaotic. Besides the hundreds of different martial institutions, tens of thousands of lone warriors had rushed to the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. The lowest cultivation among them was at the Clasping Yuan realm, and none of them were below the Clasping Yuan realm. As for the reason, it was very simple. Only the ranked martial institutions could bring some of their disciples who were below the Clasping Yuan realm to watch the competition. As for the outsiders, they would have to be at least at the Clasping Yuan realm. Plus, there was a limit on the number of people who could go beyond the Hidden Dragon Ancient City's capacity. Unless one was an astral-reaching realm warrior, he or she would not be able to enter. Under this rule, the lone warriors who were at the Clasping Yuan realm would have to leave a few months before the competition. If they could not watch the competition, they would regret it for 3 years. Plus, this year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition was the most popular one, which would only happen once in 1,000 years. They would regret it for 10 lifetimes. When the whole South Rudra region was heated up, some of the powerful martial institutions were also making their own preparations. This year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition would be the most popular one in the past 1,000 years. There would be countless martial geniuses. Plus, under the Hidden Dragon Ancient City was the Earth Chi Dragon Fountain. It could be said that the ranking would directly affect the luck of the individual and the martial institution. This was not just a bluff, it was actually real. All of the young warriors who had shown their talents in the Hidden Dragon Rank competitions had basically achieved something. The higher the ranking, the more achievements they would have. The competition was not only about the ranking, but also about the luck. Sky Flying Devil Martial School, an extremely tall mountain, pierced through the clouds, disappearing into the thick layers of clouds. On top of the mountain, there was a majestic, pitch-black palace. Outside of the palace, there were 2 black statues with wings on their backs and a third eye in between their eyebrows, guarding on both sides. Normal people would not dare to look at them directly. Inside the palace, the leader of the Sky Flying Devil Martial School had his back facing the palace door, looking high up in the air. This year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition is not going to be easy. Mo Yen, as the head disciple of our Sky Flying Devil Martial School, you only managed to get the 8th place in the last Hidden Dragon Rank competition. I am very disappointed. In the middle of the palace, 2 young men and women stood side by side. The teenager in black on the left bowed and said with respect, "Leader, Mo Yen has disappointed you. This time, I will definitely get into the top 3 and fight for more luck for the Sky Flying Devil Martial School. That's for the best. Let's not talk about you for now." Qingqing, You were only ranked 27th in the previous batch. Are you still planning to hold back this time around? The purple-clothed woman beside the black-clothed young man said, Sect Master, in the previous tournament, my great sky demon art had just reached the 7th level, so I didn't have much confidence in making it into the top 10. That's why I didn't give it my all and planned to save it for this tournament. The woman in purple was Murong Qingqing. Your sky demon great art has reached the 10th level in such a short time, surpassing Mo Yen. It seems like you have had some other adventures out there. All right, this year's top 10 Hidden Dragon rank, our Sky Demon Martial School will definitely take 2 places and become the number 1 rank 6 martial institution in the whole South Rudra region. This was a scorching volcanic zone. In the center of the volcanic zone, there were many red palaces surrounding it, and in the largest volcano as far as the eye could see, it was all golden magma. On the magma, there was a large piece of land that had a radius of several dozen li, and on it sat a pure gold palace. There were only 2 people standing in the hall. Chihua, you were the number 2 in the last Hidden Dragon rank. What do you think this time? A middle-aged man wearing a pure gold long robe sat on a huge chair. The chair was neither made of wood nor metal, but something similar to rocks. It was extremely hard, and it looked very powerful. The young man said, I, the Fire Spirit Prince, will not lose again. Very good. The number 1 of the Hidden Dragon rank is the most powerful one, and you will get the most luck. If you can get the number 1, then you will definitely be worthy of the title of Fire Spirit Prince. The middle-aged man laughed. The whole palace seemed to be shaking, and the magma outside was boiling. Daoxian, your Heartless spell has reached the 10th level, and your Heartless sword intent has reached 60% as well. You are indeed a rare martial genius of our Heartless Martial School. On top of the cliff, the middle-aged man in blue stood with his hands behind his back. His clothes were fluttering in the wind, as if he was about to leave. The young man with a cold expression said, Leader, you are flattering me. However, the real heartless does not mean that you are heartless. Instead, it means that you see everything as nothing. As long as you are heartless, there is no need for you to care about the surface. This is the heartless Tao. If you can understand this, no one in the Hidden Dragon rank will be able to compete with you. Heartless does not mean that you are heartless, seeing everything as nothing. The young man seemed to be thinking, this might be a bit difficult for you. Even I have not figured it out yet. I just want you to walk in this direction. You do not need to be restricted by the word heartless. Yes, leader. Although the young man did not understand the meaning behind it, he had already memorized it. In the Gray Mystery Nation, which was right next to the Black Dragon Empire, the Gray Mystery Nation had the largest land area among the 3 nations, but only 1/10 of it was actually populated. The rest of the land was made up of 10,000 mountains. In the west of the Gray Mystery Nation, the sky was filled with colorful clouds. Visible to the naked eye, an extremely thick beam of light shot down from the sky and landed on the vast martial institution. This martial institution was one of the 2 rank 6 martial institutions in the Gray Mystery Nation, the Sunset Martial School. Your head disciple was ranked number 6 in the last Hidden Dragon rank, but he is already over 24 years old, so he cannot join anymore. So, I will leave the top 10 competition to you, Qianyin. The leader of the Sunset Martial School looked worried. This year's Hidden Dragon rank competition would be the most prosperous one in the past 1,000 years, and the luck would be immeasurable. However, the head disciple was already over 24 years old, so he could not join anymore. Although the second disciple had improved extremely fast and was already extremely powerful at the age of 19, he was still not powerful enough to compete with the top young warriors in the last Hidden Dragon rank. The young man, who looked very handsome, said, Leader, I can do whatever the head disciple can do. You don't have to worry. I don't expect you to get into the top 5, but you have to get into the top 10. Everything will fall when it reaches its peak, and the hidden dragon rank competition is the same. The luck in the next hidden dragon rank competition will not be as good as this one. Qian Yun knows. The floating mountain. It was both the name of the magical mountain and the name of a rank 6 martial institution. In the history of this martial institution, there had been 2 life and death realm warriors, which had once brought the floating mountain martial school up to the rank 5 martial institution. However, there was always a downfall when there were no new life and death realm warriors. Therefore, the floating mountain martial school had dropped from rank 5 to rank 6. However, no one dared to underestimate the power of the floating mountain martial school, not even the royal families of the 3 great nations. In the middle of the endless mountain range, a 1,000 meters tall mountain was floating in the air, 3,300 meters above the ground. According to the rumors, this mountain was brought back from some ancient land by the second life and death realm warrior of the floating mountain martial school. It contained the magnetic godly iron, which could repel the gravity of the earth. That was why it could float in the air all year round. There was only one palace on the mountain, which was the main palace of the floating mountain martial school. On the plaza outside the main palace, a muscular middle-aged man and a young man stood side by side, looking down at the vast land below the mountain. Unfortunately, my potential has been used up, and I cannot reach the life and death realm. But you are different. Your talent and comprehensive ability are even more powerful than mine. You are the most talented one among all of the Song King's descendants. You will have the chance to take the most difficult step and become the new king of the floating mountain martial school. Right now, it is time to test you. As a descendant of a king, you have to do what only a king can do. Continue to take the first place of the hidden dragon rank and bring endless luck to our floating mountain martial school. The young man emitted an aura as if he was looking down on the whole world. His eyes were like a god's as he said, lightly, "The South Rudra region is only my starting point. The true spirit continent is my stage. Big Grandpa, don't worry. The first place of the hidden dragon rank is already under my control. Without any accidents, when I reach the top again, it will be the beginning of me leaving the South Rudra region and heading to the true spirit continent." The middle-aged man laughed. In his mind, Sheng-Er was indeed talented and had the demeanor of a king. What he lacked was an equally powerful opponent. Only an equally powerful opponent would be able to stimulate his potential and reach the level of Xianhou. After all, if a lion stayed in a group of sheep for too long, its claws and teeth would slowly become blunt. But if a lion stayed in a group of lions, it would only become more powerful, unless it lost its pride as a lion. The Ice Crystal Empire, an empire of ice and snow. In this huge empire, there were also 2 rank 6 martial institutions, the Sky Falling Martial School and the Ice Extreme Martial School. The main palace of the Sky Falling Martial School was built on a meteor that was dozens of miles wide. It was dark with a hint of red, and its whole body was shining with a metallic luster. There was not a single bit of rock on the outside. Inside the Sky Falling Palace, the leader and the few core masters were all smiling. God wants our Sky Falling Martial School. Yun-Er has trained his Sky Falling Great Art to its 11th level at the most critical moment. Indeed, the Sky Falling Great Art is a top rank Earth realm martial art. The power of its 11th level would be absolutely horrifying. This time, not to mention the top 3, he could even fight for the first place and beat Sikong Sheng from the floating mountain martial school. Sikong Sheng has inherited the bloodline of the Song King, which means that he has a huge potential. However, in front of absolute power, even the king's bloodline would have to be defeated. Haha, this is great. The teenager with the unrestrained temperament laughed. Leader, masters, you have to keep this a secret. I want to take the first place unexpectedly in the hidden dragon rank competition and show the power of our Sky Falling Martial School. Of course, all of us here are core masters of our Sky Falling Martial School. We will definitely keep this a secret for you. You should not let your guard down. Take this opportunity to get familiar with the 11th level of the Sky Falling Great Art and try to use its power to its limit. Also, if you can get the first place this time, the position of the leader of the Sky Falling Martial School will be yours for sure. The leader of the Sky Falling Martial School said, "All right, the first place of the Hidden Dragon rank is mine for sure." The teenager was full of spirit and ambition. The Ice Extreme Martial School was located in the middle of thousands of miles of ice mountains. There were white mountains, white water, and white sky everywhere. Inside the magnificent ice mountains, there was a palace that was built completely out of ice. Bingling, although our Ice Extreme Martial School, does not like to fight, but the competition of the Hidden Dragon rank is not only about the ranking. It is also a place to fight for luck. No matter if it is personal luck or the luck of our martial school, we have to fight for it. This time, I want you to get into the top 3 of the Hidden Dragon rank. The middle-aged lady said coldly. In the middle of the palace, the cold-looking lady in white nodded and said, "Leader, don't worry. I, Bingling, will either not fight for it, or I will fight for the first place, and win the endless luck for our martial school." Good. Then, I will not worry anymore. Chapter 240. Half a month later, Yi Chun had finally made it through the northern part of the Black Dragon Empire and arrived at the land between the 3 countries. This land was vast, and the mountains were ancient and steep. In the beginning, Yi Chen did not notice anything different. But as he got deeper, he realized that there was an ancient qi being emitted from this land. It seemed to be able to reverse the yin and yang, messing up the fate of the world. The Hidden Dragon Ancient Place has existed since the ancient times. It is said that it has suppressed 72 dragon veins, and among them, the Earth Chi Dragon Vein under the Hidden Dragon Ancient City is the most powerful one. It controls the flow of the Earth Chi in the whole South Rudra region. Now that I see it, it is indeed extraordinary. It is no weaker than all the ancient inheritance places in the whole South Rudra region. In some aspects, it might even be more powerful. But why do those inheritance places no longer exist in the world? Why does the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place still exist? Yi Chen was shocked by this vast land. His soul power spread out, and he felt like he could hear the roars of dragons. It was as if his soul was about to be shattered. Entering the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place, there were more and more warriors passing by. A lot of them were flying while discussing in a low voice, sounding very respectful. The Hidden Dragon Ancient Place is not something that any country in the whole South Rudra region can take over. In the history, there was a super country that wanted to build a capital in the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place, gathering all of the luck in the whole South Rudra region. But in only 72 days, the capital was destroyed, and all of the royal family members had died. Since then, no one has tried to take over the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place. Even the life and death realm warriors are afraid of this place. The Hidden Dragon Ancient Place is a place of luck, but it is also a place of death. According to the ancient records, a lot of life and death realm warriors have been killed there, including an unbeatable king warrior who had been titled emperor level. It had even killed a lot of foreign race king warriors who wanted to get their hands on the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place. 20 years ago, it was not like the leader of the 9 Ghost cult did not have any ideas about the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place. But, as you all know, the whole 9 Ghost cult was completely destroyed. Even the leader of the 9 Ghost cult was being chased by Xianhou and the Dragon King. 20 years ago, Xianhou was still very young and did not have much power. Although the Dragon King was an experienced king warrior, he would not have much chance of winning in a one-on-one battle. Normally, even if the 2 of them combined forces, they would not be able to kill the leader of the 9 Ghost cult, since the battles between life and death realm warriors were not normal, and there would not be any deaths. Even if the leader of the 9 Ghost cult could not win against the 2 of them, he should still be able to leave safely. I guess he might have been badly wounded in the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place, and his power had dropped. These things are hard to explain, and no one knows the details. What is the point of us making wild guesses? No matter how mysterious the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place is, It has nothing to do with us. Only the young generation will be able to get the luck from there. We just need to watch. You are right. On the Rising Dragon platform, the luck will be on you. I wonder who else would be able to get the luck from the Earth Chi Dragon Fountain in the whole South Ruder region? Those old guys should be here already. Let's hurry. They were all astral-reaching realm warriors, so they were extremely fast. Within a couple of blinks of an eye, they had already left the other warriors far behind. Hearing them, Yi Qin gasped. The hidden dragon ancient place had killed a lot of life and death realm warriors, including an unbeatable king warrior who had been titled emperor level. It had killed all the royal members of a super nation. No one knew if the leader of the Nine Ghost Cult was still alive, and the Nine Ghost Cult had been destroyed. No matter which one it was, they were all so shocking. This vast land with an ancient chi was no longer normal in Yi Chen's eyes. It was a place where light and darkness interweaved. It was both a place of luck and a place of death. The 72 Dragon Fountain matches the top 72 of the Hidden Dragon rank, fighting for the luck. It seems like the competitions for the Hidden Dragon rank are not just for show. There must be something else that I should not underestimate. A thought flashed through his mind as Yi Chan increased his speed, flying towards the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. The Hidden Dragon Ancient Place was way bigger than any of the 3 great nations. There were a lot of mountains that were connected together with no beginning or end. However, in the center of the Hidden Dragon Ancient Place, there was a special place. It seemed to be the beginning and the end of the mountains. The long mountains from all directions were like dragons that surrounded this place, sinking into the ground and gathering in the center. In this huge area, an extremely majestic ancient city was sitting on top of it, suppressing the thousands of mountains. It looked extremely ordinary, but it seemed to be extremely noble. This ancient city was indeed the place where the competitions of the Hidden Dragon rank would be held, the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. The history of the Hidden Dragon Ancient City could not be studied anymore. All one knew was that it had existed for a very long time, since the ancient era. It had been standing for countless years. In this place, even the life and death realm warriors would have to be respectful, not daring to do anything that would affect the luck. On the vast plain outside the south gate of the Hidden Dragon Ancient City, millions of warriors had gathered. It was a sea of people covering the whole mountain. The martial institutions that had arrived early had already built some simple buildings on the plain for their disciples to live in. As for the lone warriors, they did not care so much. They just sat on the ground with their legs crossed and started to cook food over the bonfires. They would call their friends from time to time, making all kinds of noises. The people from the Sky Cloud Martial School had arrived not too early, but not too late either. A couple of inner masters had built 7 to 8 wooden houses on a small hill 10 miles away from the south gate. Outside the wooden houses, Lu Han looked into the distance. He could not help but yell, "So many people, and all of them are clasping Yuan realm warriors." Millions of clasping Yuan realm warriors. It is indeed unimaginable. Even the clouds in the sky have been pushed away. Zhu Mei stood on the side, looking up at the sky. Millions of Zhenqi vibrations had combined together. Although they were all contained and did not release it on purpose, those vibrations were still extremely horrifying. If a life and death realm warrior did not use any special skills, facing so many clasping Yuan realm warriors, he would still be killed. But of course, life and death realm warriors were not stupid. They could leave whenever they wanted, and no one would be able to stop them. Su Jing's expression was as cold as always. She did not say anything. Luo Xinglia walked out of the wooden house and said, "The Hidden Dragon rank competition is related to the fortune of our Sky Cloud Martial School. Entering the city is a fortune. Don't disappoint me." "Yes, leader." The 3 nodded seriously. In the next couple of days, a large number of martial institutions had been arriving every day. Because of the overwhelming number of people, the area around the south gate was almost packed. These martial institutions had no choice but to get rid of some lone warriors and occupy a large area to build houses for their disciples to live in. Look, it is Wei Renjia, who was ranked 37th in the last hidden dragon rank. His blade art is very powerful. I heard that his blade intent has already reached the entry level. Qi Xiaofeng, who was ranked 38th in the hidden dragon rank, is also here. There is also Lung Wuqing, the child demon, who was ranked 45th. He had beaten a couple of clasping Yuan realm warriors when he was only at the peak level late condensing reality realm. Now that he has reached the early clasping Yuan realm, I wonder how powerful he has become. I think even the young warriors at the mid-clasping Yuan realm would not dare to say that they could win against him. Hearing the people's discussions, Luo Han's Han and Zhu Mei suddenly became nervous. Before they came here, they thought that with their current cultivation, they could at least compete with them, even if they could not get into the top 72. But now they realized that these people had made even more progress than they had. That Wei Renjia was the most powerful one among all the young warriors they had ever met. His blade intent had actually reached the entry level. Not to mention fighting against him face to face, it would already be amazing if they could not break down when facing his blade intent. Qi Xiaofeng and Lung Wuqing were both powerful warriors. One was extremely talented, while the other was a regular warrior who had challenged people with higher cultivation than him. Glancing at Su Jing, who didn't show any reaction, Luo Han's Han sighed in his head and thought, there is always someone better than you out there. Yi Qin, I wonder what level you have reached now. Shaking his head, Luo Han's Han gave a bitter smile. Yi Chen's talent and comprehensive ability were undeniable, but he had started a bit too late after all. Otherwise, he might have been able to reach the top of the hidden dragon rank, even into the top 40 or even the top 30. He was not underestimating Yi Chen. It was just that the young warriors who had made it to the last hidden dragon rank had improved way too fast, way too fast. After all, they were not the only ones who had been improving. Roar, roar, roar. Roars of demonic beasts could be heard from afar. The people from the 6th grade Sunset School are here, and the Sky Meteor Sect, the Heartless Sect, and the Sky Demon Sect. The Fire Spirit Martial School, the Ice Extreme Martial School, and the Floating Mountain Martial School are right behind them. All the noises on the plain had disappeared completely. It was dead silent. Rank 6 martial institutions were different from those below Rank 7. Normally, there would be a huge gap between Rank 7 and Rank 6, just like the gap between the Clasping Yuan realm and the Astral Reaching realm. It would be a huge gap, and only a powerful warrior could be in charge of it. Each of the 7 Rank 6 martial institutions had a very rich history, which had been accumulated for thousands of years. Among them, the Floating Mountain Martial School was the most powerful one, with a history even longer than the 3 great nations. 2 king warriors had been born in the martial institution. One was the Stone King, and the other was the Song King. The area closest to the south gate was a huge open area, which was reserved for the 7 Rank 6 martial institutions. No one dared to go up and fight for it, and no one chose to get close to it either. All kinds of powerful demonic beasts landed on the ground. The people from the 7 Rank 6 martial institutions all jumped down from the backs of the beasts and chose their own spots. The elders of the martial institutions gathered together and discussed in a low voice, while the young warriors stood in the front, which was very eye-catching. The head disciple of the Sky Fall Martial School, Lin Yin, glanced at the few of them and sneered. This year's Hidden Dragon rank would definitely belong to him. Li Daoxian from the Heartless Martial School did not look around, as his sight landed on the south gate of the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. The 2 head disciples of the Sky Demon Martial School, Mo Yen and Morong Qingcheng, exchanged a look. They could see the seriousness in each other's eyes. After 3 years, all of their old rivals' power had reached a very high level. Especially Lin Yin from the Sky Fall Martial School, they felt a huge threat. A red halo appeared in Mo Yan's eyes as he stared at Lin Yin. He opened his mouth slowly. The qi on your body is 5 times more powerful than 3 years ago. 5 times. Murong Qingqing did not say anything. Her head disciple had trained the sky demon art, and he had mastered the sky demon eyes, which allowed him to observe the power of his opponent's qi. It would not be a lie. The head disciple of the Fire Spirit Martial School, the Fire Spirit Prince, had also noticed the difference in Lin Yin. He sneered, "No matter how powerful you are, you will still become my stepping stone." Not far away, the head disciple of the Ice Extreme Martial School was like a block of ice without any emotion. His white robe was fluttering in the wind, releasing a creepy white qi. Everyone had their own qi fighting against each other. No one was weaker than the other. If it was someone with a powerful soul power, they might even see some sparks flashing in the air. It was a sign that their qi was fighting against each other. However, this kind of situation was soon broken. A young man with godlike eyes was walking with his hands behind his back. Wherever he went, the Yuan qi would follow behind him. He was like a natural king, with his qi looking down on the whole world. His qi was even more powerful than Lin Yan's. "Sikong Shang!" On the plain, someone yelled with a low voice. Chapter 241. Sikong Shang. Almost everyone in the South Rudra region had heard of him. He was the head disciple of the Rank 6 Martial Institution, the Floating Mountain Martial School, the descendant of the Tsang Emperor, the champion of the last hidden dragon rank. He had reached the peak level late clasping Yuan realm before the age of 20. Any one of his achievements was more than enough to make him stand out from the crowd. Perhaps he was a little bit weaker than Xianhou, but in the whole true spirit continent, martial geniuses like Xianhou would only appear once in 1,000 years. She would be one of the top martial geniuses in any era. Plus, Sikong Shang had the bloodline of a king warrior, which gave him a huge potential. It was an advantage that most of the martial geniuses did not have. Once Sikong Shang got on the stage, he immediately looked like a king warrior of the young generation. Of course, it did not mean that he had already won against everyone else. After all, the king warrior bloodline gave him a natural advantage in terms of aura, and battling was not just about aura. These people are so powerful. They are even a few times more powerful than Father. How could a clasping Yuan realm warrior reach such a horrifying level? Are they really clasping Yuan realm warriors? Luo Hanshan's pupils shrunk. In his memory, his father, Luo Xinglia, was also a martial genius in his generation. He was way more powerful than normal peak level late clasping Yuan realm martial artists. Together with the leaders of the other 4 martial institutions, they were known as the top 5 clasping Yuan realm martial artists in the Windy Nation. However, compared to Sikong Shang and the others, he was not even as powerful as the top 30 young martial artists in the last hidden dragon rank. In other words, if Luo Xinglia and the others were allowed to compete on the stage, they would only be guaranteed to be in the top 72. Luo Xinglia's mouth twitched. He thought to himself, "What is a genius? This is a real genius." It was so breathtaking that it made people speechless. Compared to it, we were just small loaches. "Ha ha ha, uncle. Thank you for bringing me to the hidden dragon ancient city." 2 figures suddenly appeared in the sky. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was a young man with a wild aura and a sturdy body. At this moment, the young man was being carried by the middle-aged man and was flying towards them at high speed. Whoosh! The wild young man got rid of the middle-aged man's hand and landed right next to Sikong Shang and the rest. The middle-aged man smiled and said, "Little Tuoba, you're lucky this time. Next time you get lost, walk back by yourself." Many people could tell that the middle-aged man was an astral-reaching expert, and not an ordinary one at that. His cultivation base had obviously reached late astral-reaching realm, and he was definitely a top existence among the astral-reaching realm. The wild young man was indeed Tuobaku. After he had separated from Yi Qin, he had been on his way while looking for people to fight with. After a couple of days, he had completely lost his way. As for this middle-aged man, he did not know him at all. Back then he had been fishing and did not have the aura of an astral-reaching realm warrior. Tuabaku's eyesight was not bad, so he could tell that the middle-aged man was very powerful. Therefore, he wanted to fight with him, but ended up being beaten badly. His whole body was covered in bruises. Luckily, the middle-aged man was only playing with him. Otherwise, he would have been dead by now. Tuabaku casually stood right next to Sikongshan and the rest, which instantly attracted the attention of the crowd, especially those young warriors who were ranked below the top 10. They were glaring at him angrily, using their chi to oppress him. Even they did not stand there. So how could this guy dare to stand in front of them? All of the young warriors' chi was extremely powerful. They all rushed toward Tuabaku like an avalanche, wanting to make him suffer a bit and remember his lesson. So stingy! Isn't it just taking up a spot? Tuabaku laughed out loud. An aura that was completely different from when he met Yi Qin was released from his body. It was like a mountain flood, like a tornado, like a volcano, exploding ferociously. There was even that domineering aura of a king, which was competing with the aura of Sikongshan and the rest. The young warriors opened their eyes wide, not daring to believe it. What? Another top young warrior? There is a unique king aura on him. Perhaps he also has a king bloodline? How is this possible? I have never seen him before. Where did he come from? The middle-aged man who had brought Tuabaku over laughed to himself. This Tuaba brat is not simple. His physical defense is shocking. No, it is horrifying. As for whether he has a king bloodline or not, it is hard to tell. He might be the direct descendant of some hidden family. The second disciple of the Sunset Martial School, Qian Yun, frowned. His head disciple was already 24 years old, so he had lost the right to join the competition. The responsibility of fighting for the top 10 had fallen onto his shoulders. He was confident that he would be able to accomplish his goal, and he could even make it to the top. But who would have thought that a powerful opponent would appear along the way, whose chi was no weaker than the rest of the warriors, only slightly weaker than Sikongshan. Glancing at the 9th and 10th warriors from the last hidden sky martial school, Qian Yin saw that they were still hesitating, not daring to take a step forward. His heart sank, and he tried his best to suppress his urge, not wanting to be the first one to step forward. He knew that as long as he took a step forward, he would be pressured by the aura of the other young warriors, and he did not have much confidence in dealing with it. Plus, the competition had not even started yet, so there was no need to make everyone angry. Let them be arrogant for a while. Besides 2 or 3 of them, I am not afraid of the rest. Qian Yin tightened his fists. Today was the opening day of the hidden Dragon Ancient City, and everyone who was supposed to be here had already arrived. However, in a few people's minds, there was still one missing. Why is he not here yet? Although I did not attack him seriously, I might not be able to win against him. Tuabaku thought of Yi Qin. Murong Qingqing had the same suspicion as well, but she did not care too much about it. She thought that Tuabaku had been delayed by something. Over at the Sky Cloud Martial School, Yi Qin is not here. Not good. This year's hidden dragon rank competitions are extremely rare. If we miss it this time, there will not be a next time. Luo Xinglia looked worried. The head master frowned. Yi Qin would not break his promise. He said he would definitely come. Right at that moment, a rumbling sound shook the whole area. The south gate of the hidden Dragon Ancient City had been opened. It was like the gate to the heaven had been opened, which was quite shocking. In front of the south gate, the ground cracked open and moved towards the 2 sides. Then 3 massive platforms that were miles in size appeared slowly, connected by a chain bridge. The first platform and the chain bridge were connected by 2 rock pillars. The pillars were hollowed out, shining with a blue light. The blue light interweaved with each other and formed a blue light wall, blocking the way into the bridge. On the second platform, there was a strange square palace. It looked like it was made out of crystals, shining with a colorful light. Through the crystal walls, One could see a lot of jade tags hanging in the air. There was nothing on the third platform, which was nothing special. However, between the third platform and the south gate, there was a not-so-big abyss. There were paintings carved on the walls of the abyss. There were flowers, birds, fishes, and insects on the bottom, and real dragons on the top. Besides that, the platform was not at the same height as the south gate, which was about 72 meters higher. In other words, if one wanted to enter the south gate, they would have to jump up from the third platform. There was no other way. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate have appeared. I wonder how many people would be able to make it through. Probably not more than 40%. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate will automatically adjust the difficulty. It would not be easy to make it through all 3 challenges in a row. As the crowd chatted, all of the young warriors from the South Rudra region who had reached the standard started to move. Their first goal was to make it through the 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate and enter the South Gate. Otherwise, they would not be able to do anything. Shoo! 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 Sikong Shang and the rest landed on the first platform first, followed by the rest of them. There were more than 2,000 people, which was a horrifying number. Pooh! A huge hole appeared on the blue light wall, and Sikong Shang made it through. Then the Fire Spirit Prince, Lin Yun, and the rest all made it through as well. They flew towards the second platform along the chain bridge. Leader, we will go first. Since they could not wait for Yi Chen, Luo Han's Han, and the other 2 would have to go through the 3 challenges. Luo Han's Han nodded, looking into the distance. The first challenge was called the Wall Breaking Challenge. That 100-meter-wide blue light wall had the defensive power of a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm warrior. Only by making a passable hole on the light wall would one be able to get to the second platform and start the second challenge. Luo Han's Han and Zhu Mei barely made it through. As for Su Jing, she had casually torn open a huge tunnel on the blue light wall. She looked very relaxed. Su Jing is very powerful. Luo Xinglia felt a bit comforted. The 4th master said, Su Jing has always made people feel safe. But where did that brat Yi Chen go? This is so annoying. Shoo! In the distance, a beam of light flew over at an extreme speed. The head master unconsciously lifted up his head, his lips trembling. Leader, Yi Chen is here! He is really here. He is here? Luo Xinglia and all of the inner masters of the Sky Cloud Martial School looked over, pushing his separating shadow flying art to its limit. Yi Chen flashed across the air for over 400 meters, leaving an unimaginable trail in the air. Leader, elders, Yi Chen is late. Landing on the ground, Yi Chen looked a bit apologetic. In the last 2 days he had increased his speed again and again, but he was still 1 step behind. He wanted to try to get there earlier, but the hidden dragon ancient place was way bigger than he had expected. It took him 1 more day to get there. It's good that you are here. Go now. You have already wasted a lot of time. Because of the anxiety, Luo Xinglia and the others did not notice that Yi Chen had reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Yi Chen had also noticed that the 3 challenges had started. He dared not to waste any time. He extended his body and flew towards the first platform. I was wondering what was wrong. Yi Chen has reached the late clasping Yuan realm. Once Yi Chen had left, the 4th master felt relieved. He had discovered a shocking fact. Luo Xinglia and the headmaster looked at each other. They were extremely shocked. Yi Chen was only at the early clasping Yuan realm when he left, but he had reached the late clasping Yuan realm when he came back. Haha, our anticipation was not in vain. With this kind of power, what do we have to worry about? Yeah, with him and Su Jing, our Sky Cloud Martial School will definitely have a great fortune. Don't rush. The speed of passing the 3 challenges will show part of one's power. I would like to see what kind of surprise this brat has in store for us. Although the wall-breaking challenge was the first challenge, it had still stopped over 200 young warriors. They all had bitter looks on their faces as they tried their best to break the blue light wall, hoping to break a hole and get to the second platform. After entering the first platform, Yi Chun did not slow down at all. He rushed straight towards the blue light wall as if it was nothing. This made some of the young warriors sneer. They wanted to see how Yi Chun would make a fool of himself. What made their blood run cold was that Yi Chun seemed to be able to walk through walls. He went straight through the blue light wall and did not even try to attack. What the hell? Is his body not a real body? He went straight through. Are my eyes okay? Everyone from the Sky Cloud Martial School was shocked as well. Of course, they were not the only ones who were shocked. A lot of people who were watching also did not notice anything different about Yi Chun before. After all, there were quite a lot of late clasping Yuan realm warriors among the young generation. One more would not make a difference. The only thing that mattered was power. Chapter 242. Leader, with Yi Chun here, we will definitely have a share of the fortune of the hidden dragon ancient place, and it will be quite a big one. The headmaster was very happy. The 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate were the preliminary tests to test the contestants' power. Judging from how Yi Chun had passed the first challenge, his power had already reached an immeasurable level. Luo Xinglia laughed out loud. Luckily, we agreed to let him go out to train. Otherwise, how could he have reached this level if he had been training in the school? Training and training both had their own benefits. The advantage of training was that it was stable, and there would not be too many risks and disturbances. The power would increase steadily, which was suitable for most people. However, training was different. There were a lot of uncertainties in training. For example, after seeing the outside world, the warrior's heart might be shaken or he might be chased and killed without time to train. The scariest thing would be being tricked by others and walking on a path of no return. No matter which one it was, it could kill a real genius and make him disappear into the crowd. Of course, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. If one could stay true to himself during the training, set his own principles and stay true to his own path, and survive in the blood and fire, his mentality and fighting power would both be improved drastically, which would build a solid foundation for his future. Although he knew about the benefits of training, Luo Xinglia was still very surprised by Yi Chun's achievement. He had only been out for about a year. A year was not a long time in the eyes of warriors. Su Jing has passed the second challenge. Hans Han and Zhu might not be able to make it. Right then, the 4th master moved his eyes away from Yi Chun and looked at Luo Hans Han and the other 2. Luo Xinglia forced a smile. The elimination rate of the 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate is very shocking. 3 years ago, 70% of the contestants had been eliminated. I wonder how many people will be eliminated this time. I hope Hans Han and Zhu can make it and try their best to jump onto the South City Gate. Because it was way too hard to get into the top 72 of the Hidden Dragon rank, a lot of martial institutions knew that their disciples had no hope. Therefore, being able to jump onto the South City Gate, which was also the Dragon Gate, would make them very happy. After all, those who could jump onto the Dragon Gate were already considered as elite geniuses among the contestants. In order to fight against these lights, there were only 3 ways. The first way was to dodge the lights with extreme speed, but this method was almost a dead end. The attacking speed of the lights was extremely fast, and only the top geniuses were able to dodge the lights with their speed. No matter what method they used, they would be able to pass through, and the others would not be able to do it. The second way was to use their own defense to fight against the lights, which required the contestant to have trained a very powerful martial art and to have a very high realm. If the rank of the martial art was too low, then it would be impossible for the contestant to pass through. The third way was to use a very powerful attacking power to blow away the lights, which required the contestant to have trained an extremely powerful martial art and also to have a very good eyesight, being able to see in all directions. If they were even slightly careless, then they might be hit by the lights. The second way was to use their own defense to fight against the lights, which required the contestant to have trained an extremely powerful martial art and also to have a very good eyesight, being able to see in all directions. If they were even slightly careless, then they might be hit by the lights. Except for the first method, the second and the third method were used by most of the contestants, including Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei. Luo Hanshan did not waste the past year. After he came back from the Heaven Dream Ancient region, he had started training the mid-rank Earth Realm Great Rudra God art. Under normal circumstances, it would already be quite good if he could reach the 6th level within a year. However, Luo Xinglia had trained the Great Rudra God art to the 10th level after all, and he had recorded the experiences of every breakthrough. Added with his careful guidance, Luo Hanshan had broken into the 8th level before the hidden dragon rank started. The quality and quantity of his Zhen Qi was way better than the 9th level of the purple Qi spell. As for Zhu Mei, she had been cultivating a mid-rank Earth realm martial art, and with the help of an inner elder who had been cultivating this martial art, she had managed to break into the 9th level of this martial art. She was obviously more talented than Luo Hanshan and was only second to Yi Qin. The two of them had fully activated their protective Jin Qi to defend themselves against the attacks of those colorful lights. However, it was still not enough. Those colorful lights were very dense, and obviously their protective Jin Qi would not be able to withstand it. Therefore, they needed to use attacks to break those colorful lights and relieve some pressure on their protective Jin Qi. Finally, the two of them reached out their hands and took down a jade tag that was hanging in the air, then flew towards the back of the palace with extreme difficulty. Once the two of them had left, Yi Qin walked in. Not too dense, but there are a lot of loopholes. With only a single glance, Yi Chen had seen through those colorful lights. He didn't slow down at all. Instead, his body lengthened, and his target was those jade tags that were tied up by ropes. Who is this guy? He is way too arrogant. He wants to take the jade tag as soon as he comes in. Indeed, although he is a late clasping Yuan realm warrior, he would still fall down if he was hit by dozens of colorful lights. Indeed, a late clasping Yuan realm warrior was too careless. He thought that it would not be a problem for him, and ended up being hit by dozens of colorful lights. The good thing is that those colorful lights are special. They won't hurt any of the contestants. Otherwise, this place would have been covered in blood and piles of bones. The second challenge was not easy at all. Hundreds of contestants had been completely suppressed by those colorful lights and couldn't move even an inch. Seeing Yi Qin rushing in without caring about anything else, they were all waiting to see him make a fool out of himself, in order to satisfy their frustration of not being able to move even an inch forward. Boom! 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 The colorful lights were attacking at an extremely fast speed. Some places were relatively thin, while some places were terrifyingly dense. They interweaved into a despairing sky net. Of course, there was a pattern to it as well. For example, after a certain place had been attacked for a while, it would slow down in the next second and become a temporary safe zone. Many contestants before had relied on this pattern to get their jade tags and pass the second challenge. However, for those contestants who were not as observant and had a weak mentality, it was quite difficult. Some of them had clearly found the pattern, but because they couldn't handle the pressure, they made mistakes in their calculations and were knocked out by the colorful lights. In the sky net formed by the colorful lights, Yi Chen's figure was like a dream, moving back and forth. Every time people thought that the colorful lights had hit him, they would only find out that they had only hit an afterimage left behind by the colorful lights. In other words, even under the colorful lights, Yi Chen was still moving at an extremely fast speed. Under the strong visual impact, the contestants nearby had an illusion that the colorful lights had slowed down. A contestant's protective Zhen Qi had been shattered, and he had been knocked out completely. He was indeed one of the contestants who had thought that the colorful lights had slowed down. The others were alerted. It was not because the colorful lights had slowed down. It was obviously because Yi Chen's speed was way too fast and weird. It had caused the colorful lights to follow him closely, but could not hit him at all. With the jade tag in his hand, Yi Chen's body flashed once, passing through the gaps of the sky net formed by the colorful lights and landing on the second cable bridge. Damn! How could this be? I don't think I have seen him before. I have not seen him either. I think he is a new young warrior. This year's Hidden Dragon Rank competition is indeed the most exciting one in the past 1,000 years. There are already a lot of old martial geniuses, and there are even more new ones. Judging from that guy's power, he should be able to at least be in the top 30, maybe even the top 20. As for the top 10, I don't think there is much hope. Just look at Si Gongsheng and the rest of them. They are all like monsters. Stop talking. Let's get through this challenge first. The third challenge is the Jumping Dragon Gate, which is the hardest. Maybe we can go there and join in the fun. The cable bridge was miles long. Within a couple of blinks of an eye, Yi Chen had landed on the third platform. Right now, there were already 700 to 800 people gathered on this platform. Lu Hanshan, Zhu Mei, and Su Jing were standing at the back, quietly watching the others jumping towards the South City Gate. Yi Chen, you are here. Lu Hanshan turned around and was overjoyed. Zhu Mei and Su Jing had also turned around. Yi Chen laughed. I was a bit late. Luckily, I made it. I thought you would miss this year's competition. What a shame. Lu Hanshan was quite similar to Luo Xinglia. He was not jealous of other people who were more powerful than him at all. For him, the better rank Yi Chen got, the happier he would be. After all, the competitions of the Hidden Dragon Rank were closely related to the luck of the martial institutions and individuals. The higher the rank, the smoother the development of the martial institutions would be. What kind of cultivation have you reached? Zhu Mei realized that she could not see through Yi Chen at all, so she asked. Yi Chen answered, late clasping Yuan Realm. Gasp! The two gasped. They thought that they had already shortened the gap between them, but it seemed that the gap was getting bigger and bigger. Yi Chen's talent was no weaker than anyone in the South Ruder region. If it were not for the fact that he had cultivated for such a short time, it would not be impossible for him to reach the top 10. Su Jing was also a bit surprised. There were not many things that could surprise her, and Yi Chen was one of them. Moreover, he had surprised her more than once. Seriously speaking, she was the first one who noticed Yi Chen's talent, and she knew him the best. But of course, it was only relatively speaking. In fact, she did not know much about Yi Chen either. He was like a person who was shrouded in a dense fog that no one could see or touch. Compared to the top 10 young warriors, Yi Chen's aura did not have that kind of arrogant aura. Instead, he had a kind of sharpness that could cut through everything. Su Jing, long time no see. Yi Chen glanced at Su Jing, and the more he looked, the more shocked he became. Inside her body, there was a huge amount of Zhen Qi. No, it should not be Zhen Qi. It was a kind of qi that had been combined with her physical strength. If he had to describe it with one word, it would be qi power, an extremely horrifying qi power. After thinking about it carefully, Yi Chen realized why she did not make much progress in her cultivation. It turned out that she had merged all of her Zhen Qi into her physical body to increase her physical strength. In this way, with only her physical strength, she would be able to crush warriors at the same level as her. 50,000 pounds. No, it should be more than 80,000 pounds. Yi Chen also had qi inside his body, which was jade-colored. Through comparison, he found out that the qi inside Su Jing's body was more than twice as much as his own. It was golden in color, without any impurities. In terms of quality, it was even better than his own jade-colored qi. Combining the two, both the quantity and the quality of her qi were far greater than his own. It seems like Su Jing has made much more progress than Luo Hanshan and Zhu Mei, and she has been improving her physical strength. I wonder what her peak power is like. Yi Chen thought to himself. Su Jing did not know that within such a short period of time, countless thoughts had flashed through Yi Chen's mind. All of her attention was focused on what was in front of her. The Dragon Gate leap was the most difficult one among the 3 challenges. The gravity in the abyss was even more terrifying than the abyss in the martial city. Apart from this, the warriors would be able to hear the roars of countless evil creatures coming from the abyss. Shoo! Someone had made it onto the top. It was the demon child Lung Wuching. His body slightly flashed in the air before he entered the South City gate steadily. As for the warriors who were ranked at the top, they were all standing on the top, looking down at the people below, including Sikongshan, the fire spirit prince, and Linyan. Every time they saw someone who could not handle the gravity and was pushed to the side by the chi flow from the abyss, those who had made it onto the top would show their disdain. Chapter 243. The platform was very big, and there were dozens of people leaping towards the south gate at every moment. However, only 1/3 of them could succeed, and most of them started to fall halfway. There were also a few people who were only a few meters away from the south gate, and unfortunately they fell down. It was a pity that everyone felt sorry for them. You can't even make it to the south gate, and you still want to join the competition? On the south gate, someone sneered. Soon, it was Yi Chen's and the others' turn. I'll go first. Lu Hanshan took a deep breath, pushed his great Luo Jin Qi to its limit, took a few steps forward, then leapt into the air, shooting towards the south gate like an arrow. The red light left a trace in the air, and soon Lu Hanshan was less than 20 meters away from the south gate. At this moment, an invisible gravitational force burst out from the bottom of the abyss, dragging Lu Hanshan's body. Right after that, countless roars of evil beasts could be heard, piercing into his ears and disturbing his mind. Ah, no. Lu Hanshan's face twisted. His Zhen Qi slowed down, and his whole body fell down from the air. In the end, he was pushed to the side by the airflow in the abyss and was disqualified from the competition. Seeing Lu Hanshan fail, Zhu Mei's face turned serious. She pushed her Jin Qi to its limit, releasing a sharp Jin Qi from her body. She flew towards the south gate with a pair of cold eyes. On the way, her body shook intensely, but she finally made it to the top. She had successfully jumped through the Dragon Gate. Shoo! As soon as Zhu Mei went up, Su Jing also went up. She didn't stop even for a second, as if the invisible gravitational force and the roars of the evil beasts didn't affect her at all. This girl is not bad. I wonder which martial institution she is from, but she is qualified to be my concubine. The head disciple of the Sky Falling Martial School, Lin Yun, looked at Su Jing with a judgmental look. Although Su Jing didn't have a devastatingly beautiful appearance, nor did she have a temperament that could bring calamity to a country, she was definitely a rare beauty. Her bright eyes and slim body gave people a sense of heroism, but also a sense of elegance. Other than those who were ranked at the very top, everyone else treated Su Jing as their greatest enemy. The Dragon Gate leap was the last of the 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate, and it was also the most difficult one. It was not rare to pass it, but it was rare to pass it without any pressure. At least until now, there were less than 50 people who could pass it easily. The others more or less struggled, and some almost failed. Yi Chen wasn't surprised that Su Jing had passed. With a sway of his body, he also arrived at the south gate. His speed was even faster than Su Jing's. An expert, an absolute expert, someone exclaimed in a low voice. There are hidden dragons and crouching tigers in this year's competition. I didn't expect there to be such an expert. I haven't heard anything about him before. Humph. Leaping through the Dragon's Gate doesn't mean anything. A battle isn't something that can be resolved by leaping through the Dragon's Gate. Only strength is fundamental. There were also people who were unconvinced. Morong Qingqing and Qi Xiaofeng let out a slight gasp. They could obviously tell that Yi Chen had become much more powerful than before. It seemed that after they separated, Yi Chen had improved once again, and this time he had improved tremendously. At least he could threaten the top 30 contestants of the last Dragon Gate now. Long time no see. Murong Qingqing gave a faint smile. Last time. If Yi Chen hadn't shown up in time, she and Qi Xiaofeng wouldn't have been able to make it here. Now that they met again, it would be too rude of her not to greet him. It wasn't her style. Yi Chen grinned and said, "It seems like you've improved a lot." "So have you," Murong Qingqing said in an easygoing tone. The two of them walked quite close to each other, chatting with each other. Their actions instantly attracted a lot of gazes, which contained admiration, confusion, and even more jealousy. Who was Murong Qingqing? She was the second disciple of the Rank 6 Martial Institution, the Sky Flying Devil Martial School, and one of the top 2 beauties of the Black Dragon Empire. She had both talent and beauty, and was the most perfect partner in the eyes of many warriors. Normally, it would be great to talk to her, and no one would dare to have too much hope. If it had always been like this, it would have been fine. After all, if they couldn't have her, no one could have her. But now Murong Qingqing and Yi Chen were walking so close to each other, and they even seemed to be a bit intimate, which was a huge blow to their self-esteem. They couldn't help but think to themselves, "This brat is not as talented as Xikong Sheng and the other warriors, and he is not that handsome either. What right does he have to walk together with Murong Qingqing?" Yi Chen seems to know Murong Qingqing, Zhu Mei said to Su Jing. Su Jing nodded and did not say anything. Zhu Mei sighed. It is getting more and more difficult to see through Yi Chen. He has been out training for more than a year, and I wonder what kind of experiences he has had. Even Murong Qingqing has some connections with him. She had been living in the Windy Nation for a long time, and was the pride of the Sky Cloud Martial School. However, she still knew herself. No matter if it was appearance, temperament, or talent, Murong Qingqing was way more powerful than her. Plus, her status was way beyond hers. Therefore, in her imagination, Yi Chen, who had the same status as her, would not have any connections with these people. Lin Yun and Mo Yen had a cold look on their faces. As the head disciple of the Rank 6 Martial School, the Sky Fall Martial School, Lin Yun thought that he was the most talented one. Even Xikong Sheng might not be able to beat him. His biggest advantage was his king bloodline. All the women that he had his eyes on were all extremely talented and beautiful. Plus, he had already ranked them in his mind. For example, Su Jing was top rank and could be his concubine. Murong Qingqing was naturally top rank and would be his woman in the future. If it were Xikong Sheng who was talking to Murong Qingqing, he might not be this annoyed, since it was a fair competition. But who was Yi Chen? He did not know him at all, and he only had a bit of power. What gave him the right to talk to his woman? Mo Yen was different from Lin Yun. He and Murong Qingqing were both disciples of the Sky Demon Martial School. They were not really close, but they were not strangers either. All this time he had always treated Murong Qingqing as his woman, and thought that the others would not have any chance at all. What made him happy was that Murong Qingqing had never had too many interactions with anyone, including the princes of the Black Dragon Empire. However, today Murong Qingqing was talking to someone he had never seen before, and her tone seemed to be even better than him, the head disciple. A strange sense of danger appeared in his heart, and he started to hate Yi Chen. "Qingqing, who is this guy? Why don't you introduce us?" Lin Yin revealed a warm smile to Murong Qingqing. He then glanced at Yi Chen, which was as sharp as a blade. Murong Qingqing said lightly, "Just a friend. You do not need to get to know him." Is that so? The poetic perspective of the sky falling great art was poured into his eyes. Lin Yin looked at Yi Chen with a big smile on his face. His eyes were like shooting stars falling onto the ground, ready to destroy everything. "You are finally here. Oh, right, I still do not know your name." Tua Baku stood between Lin Yun and Yi Chen as he said with a smile. Yi Chen said, "Yi Chen, my name is Tua Baku. If there is a chance, let's have a drink together." Tua Baku had taken over Yi Chen, and even Murong Qingqing was blocked out. Maybe for him, politeness did not matter at all. Talking to someone he was interested in was the happiest thing for him. Murong Qingqing did not mind it at all. She smiled and went back to where she was standing. Not being able to trick Yi Qin. Lin Yun thought to himself, count yourself lucky. Don't ever run into me in the competition. Otherwise, you will lose all your face. Zhu Mei opened her eyes wide. No way. He knows Yi Qin as well. But how come he does not even know Yi Qin's name? Audiobook's power was obvious to everyone. He was able to compete with Xigongsheng and the rest. Although it was just his aura, it had already proved his power. Brother Yi, I knew it. You will definitely come to the competition. Haha, Yi Qin, it has been a year, and you have grown even more powerful. Yi Qin, I did not expect you to know the second night as well. Tian Hao, the disciple of the alchemist martial school, Lin Yu, the disciple of the Dragon Tiger Mountain, the fourth night and the sixth night from the Moon Pavilion, all approached Yi Qin. They were all his old friends. This scene had shocked a lot of people. Who is this brat? It seems like a lot of people know him. It is indeed unexpected. Perhaps he is a hidden warrior. We should not underestimate him. Tian Hao was Meng Chao's junior disciple and was quite powerful. Lin Yu was ranked 70th in the last Hidden Dragon competition and had improved a lot by now. He was one of the most popular contestants for the top 72. As for the latter two, although they didn't know them, judging from their Zhen Qi vibration and the sense of power they released, they were obviously not ordinary young warriors. And they also had a chance to get into the top 72. So many people knew Yi Qin and seemed to be quite close to him, which was quite surprising. It also meant that Yi Qin was not as simple as he looked. After all, geniuses usually made friends with other geniuses, and rarely made friends with ordinary people. A bunch of ants, Lin Yin said with disdain. Xigongsheng and the rest of the people did not even look at Yi Qin. If it were not for Murong Qingqing, Lin Yun and Mo, Yin would not pay attention to Yi Qin either. They were a group of people who were high above the masses. No matter their status, talent, or comprehensive ability, they were all above the others. In their eyes, Yi Qin and the rest of the people were indeed ants. Perhaps they still had some power right now, but after 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or even 10 years, the gap between them would only get bigger and bigger. In the true spirit continent, the gap between martial geniuses was way bigger than one could imagine. Some martial geniuses would stop at the clasping Yuan realm, while some would stop at the astral reaching realm. Only a small part of them would be able to reach the seas of Soul's realm. Without any surprises, they would all reach that realm and even have the chance to reach the life and death realm. But what about Yi Qin and the rest of them? Being able to reach the late astral reaching realm would already be their limit, and they would not be able to catch their attention at all. As he was talking to the crowd, Yi Qin glanced at Lin Yin. His subtle movements were not hidden from him at all. If it were not for Audiobook's timely appearance, he would not mind competing with his eyesight first. The poetic perspective of the lone peak kill and the sky-shattering clouds had been trained to an extreme by him, and he had never used all of his power before. He had hidden his 70% sword in 10 even more, because once he released it, it would hurt innocent people. Gradually, there were less and less people making it to the top of the dragon door. There were only a few of them left. Some of them did not have much confidence and were trying to figure out a way, while some of them were waiting for the others to make their moves and calculate their own success rate. Regardless, making it to the top of the dragon door was their biggest goal. If they could not even make it, it would be a huge blow. As time went on, the last person had made his move. It was a failure. Clatter. The 3 challenges of the dragon door sank down, and the cracked ground started to close up in the middle. The South City gate was tightly shut, locking the young generation inside. Then, the side doors on both sides of the city gate opened up, which was the entrance for the rest of the people. Chapter 244. The South City gate was the dragon's gate. Only the younger generation who had leapt onto the dragon's gate could pass through. The others had to enter through the side doors on both sides. including the experts of the 7 rank 6 sections. The city gate was closed, and the young generation in the city were qualified to participate in the knockout competition. The young generation who did not pass the 3 tests of the Dragon's Gate had lost their qualification and were reduced to spectators. Yi Chen estimated that there were around 700 people who had passed the 3 trials. This was less than 30% of the total number of people who had come. This was a frightening elimination rate. As for the young generation of the Windy Nation who had gone to this place, quite a lot of them had passed the test, including young Master Emerald, Zhuang Fei, young Master North Snow, young Master Suwin, Fast Blade Lynch, Fairy Lotus, Qin Yulian, Yi Chen, Su Jing, and Zhu Mei. There were a total of 15 participants from the Windy Nation. 13 of them were disciples from the top 5 martial institutions, and the other 2 were young Master Duanmu from the Duanmu family and the head disciple from a rank 9 institution. 7 out of the 15 participants had made it to the Dragon Gate, which was unimaginable. Among the 36 small nations, some of them only had 1 disciple who had made it to the Dragon Gate, and the lucky ones only had 2 or 3. Even the Rudra Nation, which was the leader of the 36 small nations, only had 6 disciples who had made it to the Dragon Gate, which was not as good as the Windy Nation. This was something that was almost impossible to happen in the past. No matter what, the Windy Nation was still in the middle or lower reaches of the 36 small nations, which was at the bottom. Of course, among the 7 people from the Windy Nation who had passed the 3 challenges, the Sky Cloud Martial School had taken 3 of them, which was the main reason why the Windy Nation was so outstanding. In the last hidden dragon rank competitions, only the young Master Emerald from the Windy Nation had made it into the top 72. Whether he could make it into the top 72 was still unknown, since a lot of people from the last hidden dragon rank competitions had not grown up yet. Now, after 3 years of training, their power had already reached a horrifying level, which had surpassed many of the older martial geniuses. Yi Chen was a living example, and so was Lynch from the North Snow Martial Academy. There were so many martial geniuses who had grown up from other nations. All in all, this year's hidden dragon rank competitions were full of uncertainties. No one could make a decision until the last moment. Damn it! How could he improve so fast? How could he reach the late clasping Yuan realm in just 1 year? In the crowd, Yuan Hing had a bad look on his face. As the head disciple of the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School, Yuan Hing had never lost to anyone. It was normal for him to lose the last hidden dragon rank competitions, since he did not think that he had the power to be the champion. But among the 9 nations, there were not many people who could scare him. Normally, it was people who were scared of him which made him feel so good. Until he met Yi Chen. He thought that he was just a prey, but he did not expect that this prey would be so powerful. Even if he and Zhuang Fei joined hands, they would still not be able to beat him and were badly wounded. Since then, Yuan Hing had been training like crazy. He planned to reach the mid-clasping Yuan realm within a short period of time, and then find Yi Chen to make him pay. With the support and spending of all the resources from the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School, Yuan Hing had reached the mid-clasping Yuan realm 2 months ago. Added with a few powerful martial skills that he had learned, he thought that he could beat Yi Chen, humiliate him, and torture him. On the South City Gate, just when he was feeling proud of himself, Yi Chen attacked him again. He could not understand how Yi Chen had improved his cultivation. Even if he had been taking pellets every day, it would still be impossible for him to improve so fast, not to mention the side effects of taking pellets. He must have used some great treasures to improve his cultivation, which is why his foundation is not stable. Although my cultivation is still 1 level lower than his, I have improved a lot in other aspects. My attacking power is more than 2 times more powerful than when I was in the Heaven Dream ancient place. Since he could not figure it out, Yuan Hing thought that Yi Chen did not get his cultivation by himself, and that he might have a chance to beat him. After looking around for a while, Yi Chen's eyes focused on the rows of walls on both sides. There were some strange carvings on the walls, which were all strange paintings. The content of each mural was similar. Below, there were martial artists and demons with the strength to uproot mountains and overturn rivers and seas. They were terrifyingly strong. However, in the sky, there was a humanoid figure with its arms spread open. Chains descended from the void and bound the bodies of the martial artists and demons. Ancient cities are completely different from modern cities. I wonder what these paintings are for. Yi Chen did not understand, so he moved his eyes back. Right then, some people walked in from the side door. Powerful warriors from the 7 rank 6 martial institutions were leading the way, followed by hundreds of rank 7 martial institutions. Behind them were the most common rank 8 and 9 martial institutions. Disciples from the floating mountain martial school, follow me to find a place to live. Disciples from the fire spirit martial school, come out. All the rank 6 martial institutions had more than 1 or 2 people who had passed the 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate. Instead, there were dozens of them, which made up almost 40% of the martial institutions. With so many geniuses, as long as they did not make any mistakes, they would continue to be powerful. If there were 1 or 2 powerful martial geniuses, they might be able to bring their martial institutions to the next level. Compared to them, the martial institutions below rank 7 were much weaker. Many of them were just going through the competition, and there were many rank 7 martial institutions among them. You 3, come with me to find a place to live. Luo Xinglia and the others walked over and said, Zhu Mei asked, Leader, aren't we going to compete today? The head master laughed. There are more than millions of warriors out there. We can't just let them watch, can we? Therefore, there is no competition for the first 2 days. We will let all the martial institutions and all the lone warriors choose a place to live. Once everyone is settled, the competition will officially begin. That would work, since the hidden Dragon Ancient City was empty anyway. There were a lot of buildings which would be more than enough for everyone to live in. If the competition started right after they arrived, it would be very chaotic, which would cause a negative impact. Yi Chen nodded to himself. He did not know who had made this rule, but it was very humane. The buildings in the hidden Dragon Ancient City did not belong to anyone. Therefore, if one wanted to choose a place to live, one would have to consider the power and status. Some of the more luxurious buildings would not be something that normal clasping Yuan realm warriors would dare to touch. Only the astral-reaching realm warriors would have the priority. As for the Sky Cloud Martial School, it was a ranked martial institution after all. Warriors below the astral-reaching realm would not dare to mess with them. Soon, under Luo Xinglia's lead, everyone had chosen a big yard in the middle of the city. The buildings in the hidden Dragon Ancient City were simple but elegant. Inside the building, it was not as broken as they had imagined. Instead, it had an ancient feel to it, and the furniture was very clean. After slightly cleaning the room, Yi Chen stopped. Walking out of the room, Yi Chen saw Luo Han. Luo Han had lost the right to join the competition, but as a clasping Yuan realm warrior, he still had the right to enter the hidden Dragon Ancient City to watch the competition. Brother Luo, are you all right? Yi Chen did not know how to address Luo Han. In terms of power, he should call him Brother Luo, but it did not feel right, and it would make him feel like an outsider. If he called him Luo Han, it would sound a bit mushy and inappropriate, and calling him Luo Han would still make him feel like an outsider. In the end, he decided to call him Brother Luo, since there were no outsiders here anyway, and he was older than him. Luo Han forced a smile and said, It's all right. It's my own problem that I couldn't make it to the Dragon Gate. The world rewards the diligent. Speaking of which, when I reached the Clasping Yuan realm, I was not as hardworking as before. Therefore, this is a lesson that I will never forget. Yi Chen secretly sighed. In fact, if Luo Han had made it to the Dragon Gate, he might have been able to beat a couple of martial geniuses who were at the same level as him, which would help him train himself. Unfortunately, he had failed at the last step, as he had not been able to block out the evil sound. Otherwise, The gravity of the abyss would not have dragged him down all of a sudden. If he missed this opportunity, Luo Hanshan would not have the chance to join the next competition, since he was already too old. Let's go out for a walk. This is my first time coming to the Hidden Dragon Ancient City. Luo Hanshan said. All right. Yi Qin nodded. The Hidden Dragon Ancient City was huge. If a family of 4 people lived in it, it would be able to accommodate tens of millions of people. However, all the martial artists who came here were above the clasping Yuan realm, and none of them liked to live in the same house with others. Therefore, basically, each of them had their own building, and those who were close to each other would live in the same yard. Correspondingly, the roads in the Hidden Dragon Ancient City were very wide. At first glance, it was at least hundreds of meters wide. The ground was paved with great ancient stones, which were perfectly square. If one looked carefully, one would be able to see some patterns carved on them. The two walked on the road side by side, sighing at the ancient buildings. Life and death realm warriors can live for 1,000 years, which means they have experienced 10 lifetimes for normal people. This ancient city has been standing for at least hundreds of thousands of years, much older than life and death realm warriors. Sensing the ancient qi coming from the buildings, Luo Hanshan could not help but say. Yi Qin said, "Everyone will die one day, unless they have surpassed life and death." This sentence was said unintentionally, but it made Yi Qin confused. Is there a realm above the life and death realm? There were a lot of clasping Yuan realm warriors walking on the road. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the crossroad in front of them. Damn! My attacking power is only 42. How is this possible? Mine is only 43. Let's try again. Mine is more than 50. Yi Chen was a bit curious. He said to Luo Hanshan, "Let's go check it out." There were a lot of people at the crossroad. The two squeezed into the crowd and found a stone pillar standing in the middle of the crossroad. It was 1 meter tall and 3 feet wide. A thin crystal piece was stuck on the bottom half of the stone pillar, which was deeply embedded in the stone pillar. There were 8 rows of crystal stones on the top of the stone pillar, 10 crystals in each row. Earlier, a clasping Yuan realm warrior had hit the crystal on the bottom, and the crystals on the top had lit up. 53 crystals had lit up in total, and the highest was 80. Is this to test the attacking power? Luo Hanshan was surprised. Yi Chen's observation was even more detailed than Luo Hanshan's. He found that early clasping Yuan realm warriors could barely get more than 50 crystals, and late clasping Yuan realm warriors could get between 50 and 60 crystals. In other words, these crystals corresponded to the levels of the warriors. The first and second rows were for mortal realm warriors. The third and fourth rows were for condensing reality realm warriors. The fifth and sixth rows were for clasping Yuan realm warriors, and the seventh and eighth rows were for astral reaching realm warriors. Let me try. A young warrior walked up to the stone pillar. Boom! As he kicked on the crystal piece, more than half of the crystals on it lit up. 54 crystals. He is only a mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior, isn't he? His attacking power is even higher than that late clasping Yuan realm warrior. If 60 crystals were the limit of a clasping Yuan realm warrior, then 54 crystals were already a very high attacking power, not to mention that he was only a mid-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Luo Hanshan couldn't help but go up and try, and the result was 45 crystals, which was quite normal. I didn't expect that there would be an attacking power testing pillar here. Let's just play around. Another young warrior walked up, and someone recognized him. He was Qianyin, the second disciple of the Rank 6 Martial Institution, the Sunset Martial School, one of the most popular contestants for the top 10 this time. Boom! The crystal pieces lit up, 60 crystals, full value. The 60th crystal shone for a long time and finally turned red, which meant that his attacking power had already surpassed 60 crystals, but was still not at the level of 61 crystals. Chapter 245. The attacking power is as high as 60, and the color of the 60th crystal stone has turned red. It has definitely reached the first limit of a clasping Yuan realm warrior. Indeed, although this attacking power testing column is rare and extremely hard to make, some of the top-ranked 7 martial institutions still have them. The Martial City has 3 of them as well. Normally, being able to light up 60 crystal stones is already the maximum value. However, some of the clasping Yuan realm warriors have trained extremely powerful martial arts and martial skills, which means that they have special ways to increase their attacking power. Therefore, when they were making the testing column, they had purposely done something on the last crystal stone of every 2 rows, allowing it to shine with 3 colors. The first color is red, which means that the warrior's attacking power has already surpassed most of the peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors, and would be able to compete with the rank 6 tyrant beasts. The second color is purple, which means that the warrior would be able to kill the rank 6 tyrant beasts without too much difficulty. The third color is black. I heard that in the whole South Ruder region, there are less than 10 clasping Yuan realm warriors who could make the 60th crystal stone shine black, which means that they would be able to kill the rank 6 tyrant beasts within seconds. They are the most powerful warriors below the astral reaching realm. Qian Yan's attacking power has reached the level of red, so he would definitely be in the top 10. There should not be too many freaks among the young generation. Yeah, I think so too. The powerful attacking power is too much of an advantage. As long as one gets hit once, the defense would be broken immediately. All of the clasping Yuan realm warriors were discussing, looking at Qian Yin with admiration in their eyes. Qian Yin had a smile on the corner of his mouth as he crossed his arms in front of his chest. That powerful. I can also reach 60 stones. A young warrior did not believe it. He walked out from the crowd, wanting to get a better result than Qian Yin. A lot of people had recognized him as one of the powerful warriors in the last hidden dragon rank, and he was ranked quite high. Jin. His weapon was a blade. The blade light flashed as he threw a heavy attack onto the crystal stone. The crystal stones lit up row after row. When it reached the 59th stone, it stopped. He was still 1 stone away from 60, not to mention turning the 60th stone red. Impossible. One more time. Jin. This time, it was not as good as the last time. It was 58 stones. Obviously, he had lost his focus, and his spirit had not been pushed to its limit. 59 is not bad. Anyone who can light up 60 of them is qualified to compete for the top 10 of the hidden dragon rank. No one laughed at him. If it were them, they might not even be able to light up 55 of them. Luo Han said, "Yi Chen, why don't you try?" Yi Chen smiled. His hands were indeed itching. Someone else is up. I wonder how many stars will light up? Probably more than 55. His aura is quite strong. He is not a weakling among the younger generation. Who in the younger generation is a weakling? However, there should be 55 of them. While everyone was talking, Yi Chen walked towards the testing pillar step by step. He did not take out his Star Scar sword, as he wanted to see how much attacking power he would have without using his sword. Qian Yin had an impression of Yi Chen. When he was climbing the dragon door, his speed was very fast. He should be able to rank in the top 30 or 20. Unfortunately, the attacking power test was different from climbing the dragon door. What was needed was the most powerful attacking power. A bright yellow mountain shadow appeared on Yi Chen's right fist. The shadow was extremely condensed and eventually shrunk into a ball, shining with bits of gold light. It stuck closely to Yi Chen's fist. It was indeed the third movement of the 5 mountain godly fist art, the 5 mountain one art. Dong! A muffled, thunder-like sound was heard. The crystal board had taken such a huge attacking power, but it was not damaged at all. The crystal stones on it lit up row after row, eventually reaching the 60th stone. However, it did not turn red, which was a lot weaker than the head disciple of the Sunset Martial School, Qian Yin. 60 stones. Am I seeing it right? another one of the young warriors who could reach the top 10. Although it is slightly weaker than Qianyan, it should not be that bad. I wonder what kind of realm Xigongsheng and the rest of them would reach. Everyone was very surprised. It was not easy to light up 60 stones. Even a lot of peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors did not have this kind of attacking power. Yi Qin was also very satisfied. He knew that with only the third movement of the 5 mountain godly fist art, he would not be able to hit 60 stones. But with his almost 50,000 pounds of physical strength, it was not surprising that he could do it. In other words, even if he did not use his sword, he would still be one of the top warriors among the peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warriors. Not bad. He is barely qualified to be my opponent. I wonder what his real attacking power is like. Qianyan was not interested in watching anymore, so he was about to leave. Qianyan's raised foot was put back down again. His eyes landed on Yi Chen's left hand. No one knew when, but Yi Chen had already taken out his Star Scar sword. He pulled it out, raised it up with one hand, and threw a heavy sword attack onto the crystal board. This sword attack was the combined sword movement, sky-shattering clouds. However, he did not use his sword intent, since the 70% sword intent was one of his ace attacks. There was no need to show it off. The sword pressure was too intense, and there seemed to be lightning flashing through the air. The next second, the 6 rows of crystal stones lit up almost at the same time. Then, the 60th crystal stone shone intensely and turned into a red color. The color was even darker than the one Qianyan had hit out, almost purple. So he is using a sword. He has actually reached the first limit of a clasping Yuan realm warrior. He is not far from purple. All of the warriors who were watching were shocked. All right, let's go. Yi Qin did not want to continue. He put away his Star Scar sword and said to Luo Han's Han. Luo Han's Han forced a smile and said, "You have really shocked me. Besides those extremely powerful martial geniuses, almost no one under the astral reaching realm would be able to beat you." The two walked further and further away. Touching his chin, Qianyan seemed to be thinking about something. That time, he had almost used 90% of his attacking power. The reason why he did not use 100% of his power was because he did not want the 60th crystal stone to turn purple. He thought that no one here would be able to break this record, but he did not expect it to be broken so soon. Interesting. I hope we can meet in the competition. Then, I will use all of my power to beat you. Glancing at Yi Chen's back, Qianyan turned around and left. There were a lot of crossroads in the hidden Dragon Ancient City, and there were also a lot of attacking power-testing pillars. A lot of people who had never seen it before had gone up to test one by one, including those young warriors who were full of confidence. Scary. The Demon Eyes Mo Yen is indeed worthy of being ranked 8th in the last hidden dragon rank. The 60th crystal stone has turned purple. Murong Qingqing is not bad either. It is also purple. Just as I expected, she did not use all of her power in the last competition. The two are both disciples of the Sky Demon Martial School. This time, the Sky Demon Martial School is going to be the winner. Hearing the discussions, Mo Yen did not look proud at all. The Sky Demon Martial School also had some attacking power testing pillars, and he had already tested them, so he was very confident. However, Murong Qingqing's attacking power had surprised him a lot. It seemed like she had indeed had some great experiences outside. Not only had she trained her Sky Demon Great Art to its 10th level, but her Sky Demon Palm Print had also improved drastically. She was one of his powerful enemies. Murong Qingqing still had her face covered with a light cloth, and no one could see her real face. At the other crossroads, gasps could be heard one after another. The 60th crystal stone has turned purple. The head disciple of the Ice Extreme Martial School, Bingling, lives up to her reputation. That fist art must be the top rank Earth realm martial skill, the ice-breaking fist, right? I have just come from that crossroad. The head disciple of the Heartless Martial School Li Daoxian, also got a purple result. Besides that, the Demon Eyes Mo Yen and Murong Qingcheng also got the same result. So powerful. I guess the top 10 of this year's Hidden Dragon rank will be these people. The young generation, they are all top warriors. Yeah, I wonder what the others' results are like. Tuobaku got purple. The Fire Spirit Prince Yen Chihua's result is out. It is black, and it was a casual attack from him. No way. A casual attack from him could reach the third limit of a clasping Yuan realm warrior? He is almost at the astral reaching realm. Lin Yan's casual attack is also black. Too black. Yen Qihua is indeed the Fire Spirit Prince. Lin Yan has also caught up. In the last Hidden Dragon rank competition, he was ranked 5th. This time, he will definitely make it to the top 3. Oh, right. Does anyone know about Xigongsheng's result? I did not see him. The king-level bloodline is not something to be underestimated. Black is for sure. Let's go look for him. On a crossroad close to the center area, all of the floating mountain martial school's disciples who had passed through the 3 challenges had finished their tests, which had shocked all of the warriors watching. Right then, one of the disciples suggested to Xigongsheng, "Head disciple, I think those people have all finished their tests. Why don't you show some of your power as well, in case everyone thinks that they can take your throne away?" Yeah, head disciple, show some of your power. Otherwise, they might think that you are scared of them. Xigongsheng sneered. Besides, Yen Qihua and that weird Lin Yan, he did not really care about the others. Even these 2 were only qualified for him to show some of his power. They did not have the power to compete with him. That's good too. I will show them a despairing result. Flicking his sleeves, Xigongsheng walked towards the test column. All of a sudden, the place became dead silent. Everyone was watching. They wanted to see how powerful Xigongsheng, who is the champion of the last Hidden Dragon rank and the descendant of the Tsang King, was. After a while, they would be able to tell from his attacking power. Pep! No one could see how Xigongsheng had attacked. They could only vaguely see a palm-shaped pattern flash in the air before disappearing. Everyone's attention was focused on the crystal stone. 1 row, 2 rows, 6 rows, 7 rows. 7 rows. The crystal stones had lit up to the 7th row. Although there was only 61 in total, it was the attacking power of an astral reaching realm warrior. It seemed like Xigongsheng had not even used all of his power. As for how much power he had used, no one knew. Only Xigongsheng himself knew. Regardless, the result of 61 crystal stones was enough to shock the whole South Rudra region. It meant that Xigongsheng had the power to compete with early astral reaching realm warriors. Like a plague, the news of Xigongsheng hitting 61 crystal stones spread out like wildfire. 1 to 1, 10 to 10. Within half a day, most of the warriors in the Hidden Dragon Ancient City had heard about it. A lot of powerful young warriors had heard the news and shook their heads with a forced smile. They had not planned to challenge Xigongsheng in the first place, and now that they had heard about it, they decided not to go even more. Chapter 246. 61 stones, indeed impressive. Inside the yard, Yi Chen, Su Jing, Zhu Mei, and Lu Hanshan were all there, surrounded by 7 or 8 core disciples who hadn't reached the clasping Yuan realm yet. They were here to watch the competition with the leaders of the school. When they heard the news, they immediately came to tell Yi Chen and the other 2. Zhu Mei shook her head and forced a smile. 61 stones is a result only early astral reaching realm warriors can achieve. I only got 48 stones, and Su Jing got 60 stones. Yi Chen, what about you? Lu Hanshan answered for Yi Chen. Yi Chen got 60 stones when he didn't use his sword, and the last stone he got was red, almost purple. Brother Yi is so powerful. Hearing him, all the core disciples who came to watch the competition were shocked. Although Yi Chen was not as powerful as Xigongsheng and the others, the Sky Cloud Martial School was a rank 9 institution, which was not as powerful as a rank 6 institution. For a genius like Yi Qin to appear, it was already a miracle, and it was even more exciting. What could be more exciting than breaking the rules? In fact, everyone had the ambition to challenge the authority. Sister Su is also very powerful. She is only at the early clasping yuan realm, and she already got 60 stones. If she reaches the mid-clasping yuan realm, how powerful would she be? All of a sudden, all the core disciples who came to watch the competition were extremely happy. The more powerful their brother and sister were, the more glorious they would feel when they walked out. Plus, they had also heard something about luck. The higher the rank, the more luck the individual and the martial institution would have. In the future, with the luck of their brother and sister and the martial institution, their training would be even smoother, and they might even be able to reach a realm that they couldn't even imagine. Hearing everyone's words, Yi Qin thought to himself, "This year's competition level is super high, and the popular candidates for the top 10 have even reached the limit of clasping Yuan Realm Warriors. They are the top of the top. Fortunately, I have prepared a lot of ace attacks. Otherwise, I might not be able to make it. Let's see who is the most powerful warrior below the astral reaching realm." No matter if it was the Yi Chen from his previous life as a university student, or the Yi Chen now as a sword artist, he was still a young man with the desire to fight inside him. Right now, he felt like he had been ignited, and his spirit and qi kept on increasing, surpassing his previous level. Inside a massive building in the center of the hidden dragon ancient city, a lot of leaders from different martial institutions had gathered. The leaders of the top 7 rank 6 martial institutions were the only 7 Sea of Souls realm warriors there. Everyone, the reason why I have gathered you here is about the judges. The competitions of the hidden dragon rank are not simple, and using people from any martial institutions as the judges would not be enough to convince the crowd. Therefore, just like before, the judges will be chosen from the astral reaching realm warriors who do not belong to any martial institutions. Do you have any objections? The leader of the floating mountain martial school stood in the middle of the 7 people. His voice was not loud, but it had covered the entire building. "I have no objections." "Me neither." No one objected. The leader of the Sky Demons sect took the lead and said, "The previous chief judge, Luo Jiaqing, was fair and impartial. He should be the chief judge this time." "Senior Luo, he is indeed an impartial man, I agree. That would be for the best." Luo Jiaqing was an elder in his 70s. He chuckled as he walked out, holding his fists together as he said, "Thank you, everyone, for thinking so highly of me. Since Leader Mo has recommended me, I will reluctantly accept it. Of course, don't worry, everyone. Even if it is a disciple of the Sky Demon Martial School, a loss is a loss. I will not be grateful just because Leader Mo recommended me." The leader chuckled. The competitions of the Hidden Dragon rank were sacred and solemn. If someone tried to cover up for a disciple of the Sky Demon Martial School, he would be the first one to disagree. Otherwise, he would not have recommended him to be the chief judge. There were 1 chief judge and 12 judges in the competitions of the Hidden Dragon rank. Now that the chief judge had been selected, it was time to choose the 12 judges. There were 3 requirements to be a judge. 1 must be fair, 2 must have a high cultivation, and 3 must have good eyesight. The chief judge, Luo Jiaqing, had been a judge for many times, and he was a late astral reaching realm warrior himself. Adding his impartial attitude, it was quite expected for him to be the chief judge. Although the other judges did not need to be as powerful as Luo Jiaqing, they could not be too weak either. Otherwise, if they became a joke, no one would be able to look good, especially the leaders of the 7 rank 6 martial institutions. Under everyone's expectation, 2 long days had passed, and it was already the morning of the 3rd day. The sky had just begun to brighten, and the clamor had already swept through the entire hidden dragon ancient city. Looking from the sky, one could observe that numerous torrents of people were converging towards the center of the ancient city. They were like numerous complicated black rivers that flowed endlessly. Inside the yard, All of the people from the Sky Cloud Marshal School were there. Today is still the elimination competition. Let's take it slow and steady. If you are confident, try not to expose your real power too early. Luo Xinglia reminded the three of them. Yes, Yi Chen and the other two nodded. All right, let's not talk anymore. Let's go. The same reminder was happening in the other martial institutions as well. Although there were only 72 people in each hidden dragon rank competition, everyone wanted to go further. After all, in this kind of intense battle, the chance of making a breakthrough was very high. It was not like there had never been cases of people making a comeback before. The central area of the ancient city was a vast flat land. Around the flat land were densely packed spectator stands, extending far into the distance. The whole place looked like an iron pot. The bottom of the pot was flat land, and the walls of the iron pot were the spectator stands. Sitting in the spectator stands, one could see the scene on the flat land by lowering their head. The competition is finally starting. Let's get a good spot first. Damn, these people are here way too early. They are even one step ahead of us. Look over there. A lot of people are training. Perhaps they have been here since last night? What a miscalculation. Luckily, there are other good spots. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. People flooded into the audience stands. All of the warriors looked like they had gone crazy. They flew everywhere, trying to get a spot near the center. Some of them had even started to fight, glaring at each other. The good thing was that this was the hidden dragon ancient city, so everyone was more reserved. They did not dare to make too big of a scene. Otherwise, if there were a lot of clasping Yuan realm warriors fighting, it would definitely be a disaster. Under the first row of the audience stands, all of the young warriors who were qualified to participate in the competition stood together in groups of 3 to 5. The atmosphere was extremely tense. Zhu Mei glanced at the flat land, frowned, and said, "This battling platform is too simple. There is only a flat land. How are we going to compete?" Yi Chen said, "Don't worry, there should be something else." The head disciple of the South Rudra Martial School, Qin Yulian, walked over with a smile on her face and said, "You don't mind if I stand with you guys, right?" Yi Chen laughed. "Of course not. Last time in the scorching ancient desert, it was the headmaster of your South Rudra Martial School who helped us out. We are all from the Windy Nation. We should help each other." Qin Yulian shook her head and said, "This year's competition is full of hidden dragons and tigers. It will not be easy to make a bloody path. The good thing is that I do not have a big goal. I just want to beat one opponent after another and push myself to the limit." Su Jing said all of a sudden, "The terrain has changed." The few of them raised their heads and looked over, only to see that the vast flat ground had been torn apart and stored away. After that, 12 square-shaped battle stages rose up from the ground, all of them symmetrical to each other. At the opposite corners of the battle stages, there was a hollowed-out stone pillar. The stone pillars emitted rays of light, and in the end they formed 4 ink-blue light screens that were as thick as a fist, resembling ink-blue crystals, protecting the battle stages within. Awoo! A dragon roar came out from the deep abyss between the platforms. It was so loud that it startled a lot of the warriors in the audience seats. I don't think there was any dragon roar last year. Strange. Some of the warriors were surprised. I think this year's young warriors have too much blood and qi, which triggered some kind of mystery, which made the dragon fountain qi even more obvious. You are right, but luck is too mysterious. I wonder if it is real or not. I would rather believe it than not. The hidden dragon ancient place and the hidden dragon ancient city are very mysterious. After a while, the audience seats were filled with people. Then, all of the powerful warriors from different martial institutions sat in the first row. The 13 judges split up. The head judge sat right in front of them, while the rest of them kept an equal distance from each other. They were all observing the battling platforms down there so that they could make a decision at any time. As usual, the head judge would explain the rules of the competition. The rules of the competition were very simple. Besides the low-rank attacking great weapons, no other great weapons were allowed to be used. No pellets or destructive weapons, like the Silver Light Thunderbolt Bomb, was allowed. Anyone who broke the rules would either lose the competition or lose the right to participate and be kicked out of the arena. Besides, the 700 contestants would be divided into 12 groups to compete for points. There would be 10 rounds of competition, and only 12 people from each group would be able to make it to the next stage of the competition. Once they made it to the next stage, they would be able to join any two groups and continue with the second stage of the competition. 12 people from each group would also make it to the next stage of the competition. It sounded very easy, but it was not easy for the young generation of contestants. There were 10 rounds in the first stage of the competition, and 10 rounds in the second stage as well. It would be 20 rounds in total. 20 rounds of battles would definitely be extremely tough. If one did not have a strong mentality, he or she would definitely break down under the pressure of the competition and lose the upper hand. Therefore, the competitions of the Hidden Dragon rank would not only test one's power, but also one's mentality. Of course, there would also be an element of intelligence, since no one else would be able to win 20 rounds in a row except for the top 10. For most of the people, it was worth considering when to fight and when to give up. They would not be able to act recklessly. Everyone, please take a look at the jade tags that you got from the challenge stage. There is your group number on it. The head judge, Luo Jiaqing, activated his Jinqi and said loudly. Hearing him, all of the young warriors took out their jade tags from their storage rings. Group 3. Yichen looked at the jade tags and said, I am Group 5. I am Group 6. Group 10. Su Jing and the other two announced their groups. The 4 of them separated and went to the judges of their groups to fill in their personal information and get their individual numbers. Then it would be the group elimination competition. He is also in this group. After getting his number, Yuan Hing noticed Yi Chen, who was standing nearby. He was both surprised and nervous. He was surprised because he had the chance to beat Yi Chen right away, but he was nervous because he did not have much confidence. The two conflicting emotions made him clench his fists tightly. Chapter 247. Soon, the elimination of the group began. In Group 3, the first 2 contestants on the stage were early clasping Yuan Realm. One of them was using a blade art while the other one was using a fist art. Both their blade art and fist art were at high levels. The aftershocks of their attacks landed on the fist-thick, dark blue light wall, making a loud booming sound and sending sparks everywhere. After over 100 rounds of attacks, the contestant who used the fist art was slightly more powerful. He avoided the blade light and shattered his opponent's Zhenqi layer with one punch, winning the battle. The second battle, Yuan Hing against Huang Lang. In the first row of the audience seating, the judge of Group 3 yelled. Hearing him, Yuan Hing sneered and flew towards the battling platform. That powerful dark blue light wall was like a water curtain. Waves spread out, but it did not stop him. Please. Huang Lang looked ordinary. He cupped his hands and said politely. Yuan Hing said impatiently, Cut the crap. Eat my claw first. As he spoke, Yuan Hing quickly activated his Jinqi and made a grabbing gesture in the air with his right hand. Dark Cyan Zhen Qi shot up into the sky and transformed into a huge eagle claw. Once this Zhen Qi eagle claw appeared, it gave people a sense of ancient evil, as if it was a demon's claw. His ace attack has turned into a normal attack. It seems that Yuan Hing has improved a lot. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Back in the Heaven Dream Battle Palace, Yuan Hing and Zhuang Fei had attacked Yi Chen together and used this attack. However, that was his most powerful attack. Right now, he had used it right on the stage. Obviously, it was not because he was serious about his opponent, but because he had an even more powerful attack. Huang Lang was a contestant who had passed the 3 challenges of the Dragon Gate. Facing this attack from Yuan Hingying, although he looked serious, he still tried his best to block it. However, Yuan Hingying did not want to give him a chance to rest. He kept attacking with his claws, aiming at the weak point of his Jin Qi layer. Boom! Under Yuan Hingying's powerful attack, Huang Lang's Jin Qi layer only lasted for a short while before it was broken. The group 3 judge nodded silently. Yuan Hingying was indeed one of the top young warriors in the last hidden dragon rank. He had a great chance to make it into the rank again. Clearing his throat, he announced his opponent for the 3rd battle. Yi Chen's number was towards the back, and the first round of the competition was arranged according to the order of the number, so it would take some time before it was his turn. Taking advantage of the fact that there were no intense matches in Group 3, he raised his head and looked towards the other dueling platforms. It's Lynch. On the Group 7 battling platform, Lynch was facing a mid-clasping Yuan realm contestant. In terms of cultivation, Lynch was only at the peak level early clasping Yuan realm, which meant that he was not as powerful as his opponent. However, in terms of fighting power, that contestant was no match for Lynch. First, his weapon was knocked away by a single blade attack, and then his protective Jin Qi layer was cut open. Amazing! He is currently the first contestant to defeat an opponent who is a level higher than him. The Group 7 judge had a look of admiration on his face. After sizing up Lynch, Yi Chen shifted his gaze. Coincidentally, he saw another familiar person. It was the 2nd disciple of the alchemist martial school, Tian Hao. However, he was unlucky, as he had encountered a rather powerful opponent. He had been completely defeated after 30 attacks. After that, Yi Chen watched a few more battles. Most of the contestants were at the early or mid-clasping Yuan realm. There were only 30 or 40 people who had reached the late clasping Yuan realm, and as for peak-level late clasping Yuan realm, there were less than 10 of them. The head disciple of the Ice Extreme Martial School, Bingling, is on the stage. In the last hidden dragon rank, she was ranked 7th. Her opponent is not weak either. He was ranked 23rd in the last hidden dragon rank. No way! He was defeated with only 1 punch. Around the Group 4 battling platform, all of the young warriors were shocked. The warrior who was ranked 23rd in the last hidden dragon rank could not even take 1 punch from Bingling. It seemed like Bingling had not used all of her power at all. As for how much power she had used, only she herself would know. The hot candidates for the top 5 are indeed not something we can predict. The top 10 and below are not even worth mentioning. In the end, everyone came to a conclusion. The contestants who had the power to compete for the top 5 were already way beyond the others. They were not even on the same level. If they ran into them, they would probably be killed within seconds. Yi Chen had also noticed this. Although his opponent was very powerful, he was still not able to compete with him. He only had one opponent, which was Sikongshen. His powerful soul power allowed him to sense the opponent's power with amazing accuracy. The 10th battle, Yi Chen against Xiaohong. Finally, it was Yi Chen's turn to compete on the stage. Unfortunately, his opponent was also a late clasping Yuan realm contestant, who was ranked 35 in the last hidden dragon rank. His weapon was a long silver spear, the tip of the spear shining with a cold light. I got the first point. Obviously, his opponent did not take Yi Chen seriously at all. He tapped his feet on the ground, and his body flashed, floating in the air. The long spear in his hand was like a poisonous snake coming out of its cave. The spear shone with a bright light, looking extremely cold. Yi Chen stood where he was without moving. He released the poetic perspective of his lone peak kill, covering his opponent's mind. What? This is an illusion. There would not be 1,000 mountains and rivers appearing on the battling platform. His opponent's mind had been disturbed, and his spear art had lost its accuracy and power. Casually walking, Yi Chen appeared in front of his opponent at a normal speed and broke his Zhen Qi layer with 1 punch. His back bumped into the dark blue light wall. His opponent looked at Yi Chen with a slight fear in his eyes. If he could, he did not want to face Yi Chen ever again. That feeling of being unable to use his power and having his sense of space messed up was driving him crazy. He believed that if he fought with Yi Chen for a few more battles, his condition would drop to an unprecedented level. "Thank you." Not daring to look at Yi Chen, his opponent hurried to run out of the exit. He was afraid that Yi Chen would perform that horrifying poetic perspective on him again. Yi Chen touched his chin, thinking that he might have gone too far. Although the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill was useful, it would make his opponent's condition drop. If he ran into someone with a bad mentality, it might even affect his battling condition completely, and he would only be able to perform 80 to 90% of his power. Never mind, I will not use the poetic perspective of the lone peak kill unless it is absolutely necessary. I will use the sky, shattering, clouds, poetic perspective for now. In the previous battles, Yi Chen did not plan to use his sword intent. Therefore, he could only choose between the two poetic perspectives of the lone peak kill and the sky-shattering clouds. What is going on? Is he going easy on me? The poetic perspective of the lone peak kill only had a range of 10 meters. A lot of people had no idea what was going on, including Yuan Hinging, who had a very bad look on his face. Only the group 3 judge looked shocked. His mental power was extremely powerful, and he could sense all the tiny changes on the stage. Yi Chen's lone peak kill poetic perspective did not hide from him. To be honest, among the clasping Yuan realm warriors, he had rarely seen anyone who could push their martial poetic perspective to this level. It could even affect the senses of the warriors. No wonder that contestant was so scared towards the end. Chapter 248. Interesting. The judge of the third group smiled. It had only been 10 battles, and there had already been an outstanding warrior. After a few more rounds, it should be easy to tell who would be powerful enough to make it to the next round. The 11th battle, Teng Mo against Gao Feng. Just as the judge's voice landed, the third group had been quiet for a while. Then, the discussion started like a tide, never stopping. In the last hidden dragon rank, Teng Mo was ranked 19. I did not expect him to get on the stage so soon. There are no powerful warriors in the third group. Without any surprises, he would definitely be in the top 2. I wonder if this contestant named Gao Feng could last a little bit longer and force out part of Teng Mo's power. Difficult. It would be impressive if he could last 3 attacks. Teng Mo is not a normal young warrior. As the crowd continued to discuss, Teng Mo and Gao Feng walked onto the stage. Teng Mo was wearing a black outfit with a gold crown on his head. His eyebrows were like sharp swords, extremely sharp. Normally, a teenager with eyebrows like this should be very handsome, or at least very handsome. Unfortunately, Teng Mo's appearance had broken this rule. His face was long and narrow, and his eyes were long and narrow. His nose was pointy, and his lips were extremely thin. He did not give people a good first impression, like a combination of a snake and a fox. The young man standing in front of Teng Mo was about 19 to 20 years old. He was tall and skinny, wearing a light gray long robe. His long hair was casually tied behind his head with a string, which made him look fresh and elegant. Facing a powerful opponent like Teng Mo, he did not have any expression on his face. He had been very calm, so calm that it was creepy. This Gao Feng is not simple. Yi Chen's opinion was different from everyone else's. In his eyes, Gao Feng, who looked calm and collected, was very powerful, almost as powerful as Teng Mo. Besides that, Yi Chen sensed a similar mentality from Gao Feng. It was the mentality of not being bound by the rules and walking on his own path. If it was not hard to guess, his martial arts should be just like his mentality as well. On the battling platform, the two stood 50 meters away from each other. What? You don't want to give up? Teng Mo squinted his eyes. Gao Feng shook his head. I'm thinking, How many moves do I need to defeat you? Once he said that, not only did Tang Mo's expression change, even the people who were watching the battle could not help but roll their eyes. They felt that Tang Mo was just too arrogant. Who was Tang Mo? He was ranked 19 in the last hidden dragon rank and had already reached the late clasping Yuan realm. His martial arts and martial skills were among the top of the young generation. He was only slightly weaker than Xigongsheng and the others. If it were not for the fact that there were so many martial geniuses in this year's hidden dragon rank, he would definitely be one of the hot candidates for the top 10. Even so, no one could guarantee that he did not have the power to fight for the top 10. Huh. As if he'd heard the funniest joke, Ting Mo roared with laughter, and then his expression turned ghastly. Very good. I want to see how many moves it will take for you to defeat me. But before that, I plan to defeat you in 10 moves. I don't know if you're mentally prepared. Our chances of winning have increased a little. Gao Feng did not answer the question. Arrogant, Ting Mo was enraged. A dim light flashed on his storage ring, and a thin sword appeared in his hand. He shook his wrist, and hundreds of thousands of sword lights shot out of the thin sword. Each of them was mixed with a fiery red intent, sealing the space where Gao Feng was, trying to defeat him with one sword attack. It has appeared. It is Tang Mo's signature sword art, the Star Fire Burning Sword. The Star Fire Burning Sword is a high-rank Earth Realm sword art. With one sword attack, the sword light will be like a prairie fire, covering a huge area. It is almost impossible to dodge, and once you can't dodge it, you will have to face wave after wave of powerful attacks. Hearing the discussions of the contestants around him, Yi Qin touched his chin. Disciples from big martial institutions were indeed powerful. All of their sword arts were high-rank Earth Realm, which gave them a natural advantage. If he had guessed it right, this Star Fire Burning Sword was not only powerful, but also the follow-up attacks. That kind of prairie fire poetic perspective was quite horrifying. Of course, the premise was that Tang Mo had learned the poetic perspective of the Star Fire Burning Sword. Otherwise, no matter how powerful it was, it would only be powerful. Let's see how you are going to dodge it. Tang Mo was extremely confident about the Star Fire Burning Sword. He believed that Gao Feng would not be able to dodge this attack, and once he failed to dodge, it would just be the beginning of his nightmare. Gao Feng indeed would not be able to dodge this sword attack. Therefore, he did not choose to dodge. Instead, he rushed towards the countless sword lights. A sword appeared in his hand as well. It was a shiny silver sword. The sword was 4 feet and 1 inch long and 3 fingers wide. As he waved his arm, balls of silver white sword light started to move around in the air. Along with the puffing sound, that burning sword light was shattered halfway, turning into thousands of sparks, looking extremely beautiful. What? It was broken? Tang Mo could not believe his own eyes. Although this sword attack was the starting movement of the Star Fire Burning Sword, among the warriors at the same level as him, no one had ever broken this attack with skills. When Gao Feng rushed towards him, he was actually very happy, because those sword lights were not normal sword lights. They were sword lights that could explode, just like a fire explosion. When hundreds of sword lights exploded one after another, no matter how powerful the Zhenqi layer was, it would not be able to block it out. Among all the contestants off the stage, only Yi Qin could see through it with just one glance. Completely seeing through the tracks and weaknesses of the sword light, using the vibrating power to break the exploding power of the sword light from the inside. This is not something that normal people could do. What had just happened was as fast as lightning, and there were countless sword lights blocking it. However, Yi Chen's eyesight was extremely good. He only needed to see how Gao Feng had broken the sword light just by looking at the scene of the sword light shattering. Impressive! Tang Mo's first attack has been broken. What a surprise! How come this year's Hidden Dragon Rank competitions are all so crazy? I have never seen this Gao Feng before. Most of the people could not see through it, but it did not stop them from knowing how powerful Gaofeng was. The battle that they thought was going to be one-sided had now turned into an even match, and the tables had even been turned. All of a sudden, everyone became interested and stared at the stage without blinking. Starfire Ring. Tang Emo was, after all, one of the top young warriors, so he quickly adjusted his mentality. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot, and his body jumped high into the air. He swung his sword downwards, and the flame-like sword light, under the effect of inertia and rotational force, turned into a blazing ring of fire and shot toward Tang Emo. Ah! I have underestimated him. Gao Feng's pupils shrank. He could naturally see the power of the fire ring. It was different from the simple sword light, and this fire ring was made of sword light. It would be very hard to break it with one sword attack. If he was not careful, he would be wounded by the exploding power of the fire ring. Since this is the case, then let's fight it head-on. The silver-long sword was pointed at the ground. Streams of gray smoke appeared out of nowhere on Gao Feng's right arm. The smoke slowly rose up like a fire without any temperature. Sword explosion. Taking a step forward with his right foot, Gao Feng threw out a sword attack towards the sky. Woo! Woo! A horrible crying sound was heard. As Gao Feng threw out his sword attack, the burning fire ring was blown out. The gray sword wind blew right towards Tang Emo, seeming unstoppable. Gao Feng has won. Seeing this, Yi Qin shook his head. Tang Emo was indeed very powerful, but unfortunately he had not mastered all of the essence of the star fire burning sword art. He had not learned the mentality of the sword art either. Otherwise, Tang Emo would not be able to break through his sword movement so easily. If it were him performing the star fire burning sword art, even normal astral reaching realm warriors would not be able to break through it with skills.